Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 250. Crazy.
Big old 2-5 in the big 2-5.
Big 250. Back down in the basement. Going to talk about another week of wrestling with my teenage son, Jack. And I was going to say wrestling nerd. I think that's fair.
Implied.
Both of us are solidly in that category. Early recording session for us this week. I don't know why I say that, because nobody listening would ever know if I didn't say it.
No, it's like when it's not like when it's the taped wrestling show and Vince desperately wanted them to think it's live still, and they're like...
Right. We are not streaming this live. We're recording it on May 1st. It'll be out to the general public on May 3rd. It's because the meatheads have descended upon our house, or one of them so far. Your meathead friends, I say that lovingly, obviously, because it's a couple of your buddies' birthdays kind of in between, right? So you are doing things. You're not staying here tonight, right?
No.
So you're hanging out here for a while and then going over to Hudson's place, I think?
Yeah.
For the evening and then driving. Are you going up north again?
Where?
Weren't you driving somewhere?
We're going to Millbrook, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not north, I think.
I don't know.
I think so. You don't know directions?
Nope, not even a little bit.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, you're driving somewhere.
Whatever an embarrassing lack of knowledge is, I have less.
That's right. So we're going to knock off talking about wrestling ahead of that so you can go and enjoy your weekend. I don't know what is new to talk about here. We're going to talk about Dynamite. We're going to talk about Raw. We're going to talk about NXT, of which you watched more than usual this week.
Did I?
You did. So you may have more opinions than usual. You did. You sat through most of Raw and some of NXT. So I did not suffer
It'll come
alone.
to me as we go.
You can jump ahead to anything. We have timestamps. We'll hit some news. We'll hit some trivia. We usually banter a bit about our week here for whoever wants to listen to it. Not sure who that would be, but it's somebody,
Someone
relatives, close friends who are like, I listen to that, and then as soon as wrestling talk starts, they're
people who aren't paying attention.
So I don't know what we're dealing with. Ridiculously unseasonable weather still.
Yeah, as the pool opens.
Yeah, pool is literally being opened right now as we speak. There's two gentlemen in our Pool Dave. Shout out to Pool Dave's out there.
Dave.
With his guy helping him.
The
weather I think it was Tuesday night I was watching the Leaf game.
There's a couple days this week where it was really nice.
Yeah, so it was 30 degrees Celsius with the humidity during the day.
One day it was really
and then down to 0 at night. That should not happen, I'm pretty sure.
That doesn't.
Because I biked down to Mike's garage at like 7 and it was warm and sunny. And I biked home at like 10:30 and it was windy and freezing cold. And then swung by Chuck's place to pick up some supplies. So, I don't know. We're just dealing with that. And you are just kind of finishing your last semester of high school, prom stuff, et cetera, et cetera.
Prom stuff soon. You got your watch.
I did get a fake Apple Watch that your mom just sent a text that says, for adoption, Toast needs a friend.
I don't think mom wants that, though. So it's odd that she would.
I know. Toast is our cat. Yes, she has a cool name.
Yeah.
She's the best. She attacked you, though, which I respect. I've been training her.
That's true.
So finally.
It only takes me holding her for like a minute too long, and then she'll turn.
Yes, she's not like a super friendly, cuddly cat, but she will tolerate being picked up.
Until she doesn't.
Yeah. Then
that one's on me.
And there's no gradual. When she hits that point, it's on.
No, she just tends to flip a switch and then
she attacks. You know. Got to respect it. That's what I respect about cats. But
yeah.
I don't know. What else is going on in your life this week? Anything?
Well, I mean, I guess I'll have to talk about the movie next week.
Right. That's part of what you're doing with your lads. I was telling
you it's got a 90 rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty good.
Yeah, we were talking, I think, last week about how it's been well received, and you're saying Rotten Tomatoes is at a 90, which is fantastic. Yeah. So
especially for the Marvel movies, because I think the highest one was 96.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. And like I've been saying it looks good, even though it's like a bunch of schmucks in the movie. Not schmuck actors, but like character-wise.
Yeah.
But like that's like how we like the mid-carders, you know?
That's right. We love the mid-card. Mid-card heels are the best.
It's basically, I mean, they're all kind of anti-hero-ish, so it's
Give me Mr. Perfect and Ravishing Rick Rude.
Right, it's a movie about the mid-carders, you know?
That's my people.
Yeah, number 1 was Black Panther in 96, and then Endgame at 94, Iron Man is 94, Ragnarok is 93, damn. Okay, but yeah, like, so I think it's within the top 10.
What was Guardians of the Galaxy? That was the one I actually enjoyed.
Galaxy is number 8 at 92. So this would be number 10 is 91. So it would just be outside the top 10. It would be it's tied with Civil War right now, which is my favorite.
Nice.
So that's kind of cool, actually.
And you'll have fun regardless going with your friends to see
we liked the last one and it wasn't even received overly amazing.
It was received better by you and your friends than the general public.
Yeah, we actually liked it quite a bit and most people did not. So this one's been like heavily praised, so I'm excited.
Cool. I don't know. We should probably talk about wrestling because I want to get you up to do whatever it is with your friends. So we'll ditch the banter, talk about wrestling. We always start looking at some of the week's news and rumors. Starting off, the news is something I would consider good news, but technically I don't watch SmackDown.
That's true.
But it would be. So did you hear the end of the 3-hour era for SmackDown is reportedly coming?
Oh, I did see that going around. Yeah.
They're saying most likely starting with the June 6th episode. So that would mean basically May is the last run for 3 hours. Everything I read and see is that the 3 hours is a disaster and it's just clearly them filling time and there's really not much of value there. Like there's some decent stuff. I'm not saying it's all trash.
That TLC match was awesome.
But but like there's a lot of filler on the show. So that's good, man. I'm on the record saying I don't like to do 3 hours of anything except maybe pickleball. Because I'm really, really cool.
Yeah, as this has been established.
But and I guess podcasting, because I'm sure we've done a 3-hour podcast before.
Numerous times, 100%.
But I don't want movies. I don't want wrestling to be 3 hours.
Movies I don't care because it's one thing, but like Raw, when it was 3 hours is every week.
Only if it's Tarantino for me. But yeah, so that's happening, and I think that is probably a good move for most people.
Even though neither of us ever watched
SmackDown
ever.
Never. What do you got?
Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff are launching Real American Freestyle.
Yeah, so I didn't put that in my news because you were the one that texted me that. What did you say? Like we got something new to watch or something?
Yeah. Well, I didn't know it was freestyle wrestling, which is I don't care now. But apparently it's said to be freestyle wrestling, incorporating
meaning what, real?
I guess incorporating elements of pro wrestling like storylines and characters. You know, Hulk Hogan's really real. This makes it sound like the freestyle wrestling equivalent to Vince doing the World Bodybuilding Federation, where it's like trying to ingrain sports entertainment into something else, or like the XFL, which, as we all know, the titans of industry that they are, the WBF and the XFL today.
Right.
That went well. Hogan's the commissioner, Bischoff is chief media officer, the other guy is chief operating officer. There are some have been recruited already, none of note for us. 8 men's weight classes, 4 women's.
So it's shoot wrestling.
I think. Hogan said he got the inspiration when we saw Trump hugging the dude who beat Gable Steveson recently.
Oh, good. So
that's great.
So many red flags involved in that. That means I will never watch a minute of it. I
can't wait.
We're going to live stream every second of it, right? So good luck to them. And by good luck, I mean I hope it fails miserably and everyone involved loses a bunch of money. Adam Copeland, unlikely to sign new AEW contract. We're okay with that. I think that falls under good news for us. Nothing, no offense. It's just basically he said it was him speaking. He's 51 now and said he maybe has until the end of this current contract, and that's 2 more years. So 53, that seems like if you're still healthy-ish at 53.
He says he needs to like walk it off a week, or at least still feeling a week after every time.
No doubt, man. Like that's what I'm saying. The recovery time on stuff as you get older is even just working out. Like I'll be sore now for 2 days when it used to be like, nope, no problem.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Good for him getting out while he's still healthy, I guess. Although he's got a bunch of neck problems that are lingering. But
and he broke his leg last year.
That's true.
Against Malachi Black, who wasn't leaving AEW ever.
That's right. Exactly. So, sayonara to him in 2 years, I guess.
That's fine. He's not my least favorite old guy, but I can also take it or leave it.
It's not my favorite either. That would be Shelton, probably.
It's probably Shelton. I was going to say Christian, but it's probably Shelton.
Yeah. I think so.
Shelton and Christian.
For different reasons.
Agreed. WWE have added a subtitle to Orton versus Cena Backlash one last time. It's no end of an era or greatest wrestling match ever, but it is still funny.
It is. That is kind of interesting.
I always think it's funny when they do that. I do hope it'll be the last time, though.
It's them signaling that it's a big deal, right? Basically, I guess.
Also once in a lifetime.
Right.
There's another one.
But twice. Once in a lifetime, twice.
Once in a lifetime, twice. I'll help you turn heel and then leave.
Right. So I remember how Mysterio, I was saying, I heard speculation.
Yeah, he's not.
So apparently he has torn his abductor. So he's
been injured so many times and he comes back like nothing happened.
He's old too, right?
But then he still wrestles like nothing happened.
And sometimes when you're older and allegedly roided up, things start to go.
Yeah.
So it happened during a 6-man tag on SmackDown with Dragon Lee Phoenix beating Gable and the Creeds, I guess. So I'm guessing that's months out, probably. But anyways, he's been replaced by a better luchador in El Grande Americano, wherever he came from.
It's like the shirt says, El Grande Americano is numero uno.
He is. It's crazy. I'd never heard of him before his WWE run, but he's done big things elsewhere.
Good thing Chad Gable's scouting the lucha scene.
I think so. I appreciate it.
I do.
Because it's not his style, so for him to branch out and look for people wrestling a different style.
Because obviously he can't wrestle lucha style, which is why he branched out to Americana.
He can't do it. So
he can't possibly wrestle lucha style for any amount of time ever.
And you can see Americanos mixing in some,
reverse, like 450 centons.
Yeah, stuff like that. Craziness.
As you do.
So speedy recovery, Rey Mysterio, I guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Natalya is challenging for the NWA Women's title. It's a slow news week.
Sorry, she's challenging for what?
The NWA Women's title at the Crockett Cup.
I mean,
I know you're going to watch it. So
to me, that's more at the level she should be at. We are not big Natalya fans here.
I can't say I've literally ever described or used the word Natalya and fan in a sentence.
We always say, right? She knows wrestling moves. That's it. Good at wrestling. Doesn't mean she's a good wrestler.
And she's really boring.
It's kind of how I feel about Billy Starks.
Yeah.
Like, she knows a bunch of moves, but the connective tissue is...
Well, with Natalya, I feel like a lot of people like her now because she's a legend or whatever, but when it's all said and done, she's just going to go away like a fart in the wind.
Hey, that was one of the best gimmicks ever. Yeah.
Nailed it. I thought of that like 2 seconds ago.
We used to have a secretary who referred to you as that when you were a wee baby because you were so tiny.
And I fart a lot.
Maybe. The other thing I have is another injury. Did you hear that? It sounds bad. RVD?
Yeah, I saw he was sidelined. I was going to put that in as a joke because it's like, RVD sidelined. Yeah, because we're really missing him in the active wrestling scene right now.
First of all, think about fracturing your heel because that seems like it would really suck.
Yeah.
Second of all, he did both of them.
Oh. Adam Cole's sympathizing with that one right now.
So have fun walking around. So it was at MLW Battle Riot 7.
Oh, he was there, yeah.
Eliminated... So he did it apparently when he was eliminated, and obviously he's canceled his upcoming wrestling plans for the next few months because that's going to suck.
That is gross.
Yeah, so speedy recovery to him. He was once my favorite wrestler.
So Liv Morgan obviously got her Hollywood role, which I think is it was pretty underwhelming from what I've seen. Like, it's something that I've never heard of.
Are you trying to tell me that the headlines saying it's amazing and eye-popping and whatever are clickbait? How dare you?
It is.
The internet would not do that.
And apparently Drew McIntyre's also being lined for a major movie role. Now,
I could see that.
Take it with a grain of salt, given the Liv Morgan thing.
Right, a major movie role.
I mean, Trick Williams is on the big screen too, so...
Oh my God, that's in my notes coming up for NXT. That made me laugh. I think my thing is he's going to be in a movie. Nope, he doesn't know what big screen means. Going to be on the big screen, guys, on a TV show.
This is unprofessional.
It's not how it works. But anyways, that's it for news for you.
Si, senor.
Hey, man, you didn't do your half of the lights. That's terrible. Anyways, we'll move into our most in-depth review for sure every week. It was a week full of in-ring action on Wednesday night's AEW Dynamite. Dynamite's you, so I'm going to drink coffee and protein shakes while you talk about Dynamite.
Well, before we had a big multi-man tag for money, this one we have for nothing.
They're just giving it away for free.
They're not.
I guess because two of them are the EVPs, so they don't want to pay themselves
or pay other people.
It's coming out of their own pocket or something. If that's how that works.
Mm-hmm. It's Omega, Briscoe, Kevin Knight, and Speedball against the Elite and Ricochet.
And the name of Speedball and Kevin Knight,
Jet Speed,
good.
Which I love. That's
we like.
That's a good mashup.
It actually works.
Right? I like Warjo. That was a funny one.
Those Jet Speed's cool.
Oh, what was the one that we hated? Swerve in Our Glory.
Yes, and Jet Speed shows some pretty good
chemistry. Yeah, and they seem to be pretty over.
That's the word I was looking for.
That is the word.
I was going to say synergy.
I was telling you, I was watching Bucks Lucha Bros, the cage match from All Out, and I missed when the Bucks were like douchebags and not the EVPs. They were like just scumbags, and Nick Jackson looked like the biggest tool on
They're believable
the
scumbags, I'll say that.
Yeah, I loved them back then. And Nick Jackson with his off brown hair and the blonde handlebar, like he just looked like the biggest asshole I've ever seen. And I loved it so much. That match is great, but like I remember it used to bother me when they started doing this ridiculous looks. And then as it kept going, I'm like, you start to enjoy, like,
you're almost waiting for what they're gonna do next week.
Yeah,
like how are they gonna be?
Oh,
worse
I
next
100%.
week?
They would do like the crazy headdresses with the earrings, or then he would have the mustache or the beard and the mustache and the crazy hair. The one time they had the pink mustaches, like, it was that was the best time. It was 2021 AEW. Life was
and
good.
the headbands would get more and more ostentatious.
Just everything about them was it was so great.
Yeah.
Anyways, they were doing the spot early on in this match. Sorry, we're talking about this match now. It was Matt's like wrenching on Omega's arm over the apron, and so Omega counter Ricochet and he did that to Ricochet. Matt did because he wasn't looking at who it was. Then they kind of have an argument. He bald slaps Ricochet, and so does Omega, or he bips him.
He sort of reaches back and feels that the person doesn't have hair.
Yeah.
So he knows it's Ricochet.
I love that.
So they found a way to work the bald in.
Yeah, they did that a couple times. It was really funny. There was a corner flurry on Ricochet from the babyface team, a lot of running offense to him. Knight and Speedball had a great tag offense sequence on Ricochet, and the crowd loved them. I noticed.
It's hard not to. I mean,
yeah, they're really entertaining together. And I mean, if you got nothing better for them to do, the tag division could use them
100%.
So I'm totally okay with that.
And it's kind of fresh people for the audience too. I don't know if everyone knows Speedball or Kevin Knight.
Kevin Knight less so, because I think he's done most of his work in Japan.
Yeah,
so
and
there's a decent
TNA.
And TNA, but he hasn't even been there a lot.
No.
Like, Speedball's been there a lot, so I feel like there's a decent chance the North America crowd would know who he is. With Knight, I think he's been getting recognition, but I feel like he's done most of his work over
They look pretty
Japan.
great together.
I agree. There's a sequence where everyone's missing grounded dives, like sentons and elbows, and then a standoff and a brawl.
Are you allowed to put two guys of different races together in wrestling?
No.
That's oof. We're
Kevin Knight's going to the Hurt Syndicate.
Breaking new ground here in AEW. It's crazy.
We need to get Canadians together. Speedball and Omega can go together.
Crazy.
Different nationalities, different ethnicities, different
it's out of control.
Styles.
Out of control.
Briscoe and Speedball hit simultaneous crane kicks to the Bucks. Okada hit a huge flatliner to Speedball.
That's a bit for us now.
It was a huge flapjack though to Speedball. It was crazy.
Who calls it a?
I think it's Shivani.
Is it Shivani?
I think it's Shivani.
Yeah.
Ricochet does like the Northern Lights suplex and the Brainbuster, as Matt does the locomotion Northern Lights suplexes, so they kind of do the same spot at the same time.
It was cool.
Ricochet poses with Matt's hair dripping over his head, so that was pretty funny as well. But then he still gets chance of "you're still bald."
He does.
All the heels take turns shouting Brainbuster and going for one on Speedball. He counters them every time. Then we get simultaneously and all the babyface counter into suplexes, so that was nice. And Stereo Slingshot planches through the floor from all the babyfaces. Omega got super kicked off the apron, but the Nick and Okada hold him up. And so we get so Speedball gets super kicked too. He's being held from the ropes by Matt. Okada's holding Omega from the apron. And so Ricochet hits a springboard 450 to Speedball being draped as Nick hits a swanton to Omega on the floor.
It was pretty cool.
It was just all well choreographed and thought out. Briscoe gets a hot tag flurry, a fisherman buster to Okada for 2. Okada counters the J Driller, air raid crash neck breaker connects, and a diving elbow drop. There's a really killer sequence involving everybody. Some sick stuff. It leaves Omega and Okada, the guys standing. They get an exchange. We get stereo drop kick tombstones from the heel team. So like 2 guys are being held in tombstones and 2 guys are lying down. So it's like Nick and Ricochet jump off, do like drop kick tombstones into a senton. Like it was all crazy worked out. Just 4 for 1 there. It was pretty crazy looking. Briscoe counters a Rainmaker, nails a J Driller for a near fall because Ricochet made the save. Speedball gets Ricochet an electric chair on the apron. Knight standing dropkick because he's got that insane vertical.
He does.
He drop kicks Ricochet off, who lands on the Bucks. Briscoe goes for a froggy bow. Ricochet shoves him off the turnbuckles. Okada gets the win with a Rainmaker. Yeah,
this was obviously a pretty awesome opener. And even with some comedy elements in it, right?
I think it kind of it had multiple styles in there. Like there was a lot of things going on.
It reminds me of G1 when like the people that aren't on that night have an opening like multi-person
but enjoyable
tag. And at one point I'm like, man, the pace to this is really good. And then that sequence came up where I think you had to shorten your notes down to like they did a bunch of crazy stuff because there's it's like, oh man, it even got faster.
The pacing, it went like fast. It would kind of slow down. You'd have different guys going in.
Light speed. And so Knight and Bailey are great together. I mean, this is just what a collection of talent involved here, right? So you knew it was going to be good. Almost half an hour to open the show. Crowd,
I really loved it.
Crowd was really involved. Excellent start to the show. Like, it's not quite random because you have
there's a lot of inner working
Okada,
stories.
Omega.
What I was kind of talking about. Yeah,
Briscoe beat Ricochet.
Omega's feuding with the Bucks, kind of too.
Yeah,
Briscoe beat Ricochet. Ricochet and Knight have issues.
I'm hoping this leads to a Jet Speed Bucks match somewhere.
Jet Speed Bucks. We already saw that.
But I mean, like, they run that back again.
Oh yeah, I would take it again easily.
So yeah, awesome opener. Just a lot of fun, man. A lot of super talented guys just being like, hey, you've got about half an hour, go crazy. And they did. Really enjoyable.
What did Mother send me? Why is she sending me images?
It's the cat, probably.
Oh, it's June 11th. There's a celebration breakfast for grad. Swell. Nice. I can't wait to eat breakfast at school and wake up early for my first period class.
You're graduating?
That's crazy. Wait. I can't. Because I don't have a first period class. Anyways, yeah, this was a lot longer than I expected, but a great opener and a hell of a multi-man tag. Like, the pace kind of fluctuated, and it was really great. Everyone had their time to shine because we had so much time. Some really killer sequences, some humor, mostly from Ricochet, which is crazy. Speedball and Knight were really over. Like, them as a team has a lot of potential, I think, and I think it's worth considering.
Me too.
Because you could do, like, a flamingo driver and then a UFO or something like that.
Yep.
Or I don't know, you could figure something else out. Everybody was understandably really hyped for Omega and Okada fight. We got a taste of that, and that got built up nicely. That's got to be the play for All In. Omega fighting the Bucks versus that storyline. Ricochet's issues with Briscoe and Knight. And Speedball and Knight fought the Bucks the other week. Like, there's a lot going on here, right? So I think it works out really well.
Me too.
A lot of things in play, and it was really entertaining. I don't think it needed to be this long, but I enjoyed that it was because there's just a lot of action going on.
Yep.
And it kills like a chunk of the show.
Sure did.
And it was enjoyable. Then we get Hurt Syndicate. There's some random guys chaining along the We Hurt People thing. They just get beat up. Lashley dumps a guy in a laundry bin. Shelton brings up a case for MJF again, saying he doesn't trust him, but it's about trusting MVP, and MVP says he can be beneficial to them. He's never steered them wrong before, and if Max screws them, they'll hurt him like he's never been hurt before. So Lashley seems like he's considering it. Nothing much here, just kind of makes them look sick, and it's some slight storyline stuff, and it seems like Lashley will kind of change his tunes. So I
think it's like, hey, we're heels. We kill, even though you love us, like, we're killing random people backstage. And the logic's kind of there, right? Like, why wouldn't you just use MJF, see if he can do all the things he is saying he can do for you, and then if not, just beat the hell out of him and ditch him, right? So that's MVP's final pitch is kind of like, listen, if he doesn't do what he says he can do for us, we just get rid of him.
Yeah.
No harm. So that makes sense.
It kind of makes sense. I guess we'll see.
Yep.
Where that goes, and we'll get more later. Then we get the Ops in a squash match against Jobbers, it's Mile Hawkins, but then oh no, some familiar faces. It's Rhett Titus of ROH fame and Nick Comoroto of QT Marshall's hit faction, The Factory.
He is an absolute bear. Comoroto looks like somebody WWE would grab, or at least the redacted era for sure.
Yeah, he looks like someone to come out of the WCW power plant.
He is humongous.
He is.
And Titus I used to watch a lot in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
He's a good wrestler, man.
Yeah. Titus chops Joe. He was the one who lost the ROH TV. No, he lost the TV title to Minoru Suzuki, and then Joe beat Suzuki, I think it was. Because it wouldn't be the other way around. Rhett Titus is beating Minoru Suzuki. I saw Suzuki just had a match against Butterbean.
Oh, yeah. I heard it was terrible.
I heard that.
Like appointment viewing terrible.
I heard he is mad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. Titus chops showed no effect. Joe lays him out with a heavy one, backs him in the corner with rapid jabs. Cornerback elbow and enziguri. Chop exchange between Shibata and Comoroto. Then a big running pump kick from Shibata. Hobbs comes in the big scoop slam to Hawkins. Heavy corner clotheslines, and the whiplash on those was pretty crazy. And then he gets him with the spinebuster, merges him with the spinebuster. Death Riders attack after the bell. Joe gets the coquina clutch in on Mox on the ramp and chokes him out. But that gives Claudio time to hit Shibata with that neutralizer on the upside down chair that he did to Hook.
Yeah.
And then the Death Riders run off as Joe makes it back to the ring. Joe grabs the mic and shouts at Mox as the Death Riders leave through the crowd. He says it seems to him Mox likes to come out and act like the boss, but he acts like a bitch when they start throwing hands. He said Mox came in weeks ago and begged for Joe one-on-one, and now it seems like Mox doesn't really want it. But he already made the request and suggests to give everyone what they want, and he wants Mox in a steel cage, and he will be the next champion.
Yeah, it was sort of the opposite of the previous match, right? It was just a really quick. And Shibata, the part I liked about it was how he just like calmly was kicking and kneeing people like this was no sweat for him, which it shouldn't be facing those guys. I like that they gave Hobbs the finish here, right?
Yeah, I like that.
And it's just a squash to set up the post-match attack, but at least, like for me, the trios titles are visible and they're on TV sometimes these days. So that is a step in the right direction, right? Instead of either never reference. Like I could forget who the trios people are sometimes because Death Riders never had the belts with them, right?
So, yeah, not even that they were champions and not defending them, but like
they just didn't bring them.
Didn't even bother bring the belts until they were defending them.
And Claudio's use of the chair like that looks devastating, and it just looks like if he's not so precise, like it could go really wrong.
Which it could.
Which the legs are sticking up like that. And I always love to hear Joe on the mic. But man, was the spit flying out of his face.
Yeah, he was like spraying like a faucet.
Spit and sweat like everywhere.
Yeah.
And the cage stipulation makes sense, right? Because he needs to keep
Death Riders. But I was saying to you, the last 2 cage matches we've seen are Swerve Hangman, one of the greatest matches I've ever seen, and Ospreay Fletcher, also maybe one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. So,
and I think cage matches need to go back to where they actually keep people out. Like I don't need the Death Riders finding a way in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think it would work better for a long-standing feud. Like, if we got Hangman Mox steel cage in the main event of All In, because I hope it's Hangman, then that would make more sense to me.
It would.
It's like, I want it to be Ospreay because I think he should be champion, but at the same time, a Hangman, I think the story works better, so I'm torn. But yeah, solid squash, and the post-match promo was decent after. I think the cage match does make things more interesting, so I hope it kind of helps them out and allows for some more brutality and weapons, which will kind of help them out. But we'll see, I guess. Then we get Monet in a sit-down interview with Renee. It was just like Renee's asking her about the finals against Hayter, and Monet talks about the hearts being important, but it's all about her. She won her first title, double nothing last year, whatever. Hayter's bigger and stronger, but Monet has a more impressive record. She's the greatest, yada yada. Jamie Hayter looks like a Scooby-Doo character.
Yeah.
I'm skipping over this because like I just don't really care. It was fine. The delivery is just so much though. It's not good. The Scooby-Doo line was funny, but the rest of this was not anything new or interesting. The delivery is just like you can talk.
I always turn to you and go, that is not how human beings talk.
Yeah.
Right? So, and not in like a heel way, because sometimes Ricochet has that going on too, but it feels like he's doing it just to be annoying.
He's like trying or something. He's like that try-hard geek.
And what she's saying is fine, like nothing super specific, pretty generic stuff, but it's just the way she says things kind of takes me out of it. She did try to put Hayter over for a little bit in the middle, which I thought I appreciated, but like, yeah, she's been doing this a long time and she sounds worse than she used to somehow. She's like regressing. It's weird. Still good in the ring most of the time, but the character work, that's not there for me.
She's one of the people I would send back to WWE.
They could have her. And I used to love her.
Maybe I'll love her there and then win.
Yeah, true.
Patriarch interviews next. Renee tries to ask Nick Wayne a question, but Christian says all questions should be directed to him. Then Jay Lethal interrupts to challenge Nick Wayne for the ROH TV title. Nick wasn't really interested because he's preparing for the Super Juniors or whatever. But Christian Cage accepts anyways and says Nick has to get his head in the game since he's a champion. I thought it was solid. It furthers the story a bit. And Lethal and Wayne could be kind of sweet because Lethal's a great hand.
Yeah, I think it's like Christian's annoyed that he got interrupted and that Lethal's kind of dismissing him to speak to Nick Wayne. So he's like, I'm putting Nick Wayne in a match against you. And I don't even know if Christian cares if Nick Wayne loses, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense. And the match, I figured the match would be pretty good for a random match in the middle of a TV show.
Yeah, I really like Lethal as just like a solid hand on the roster.
That's what I was just going to say. He's a good hand.
Yeah. And like he never wins, but he's always great value.
That is true.
Then we get Toni Storm versus Miyu Yamashita in a Women's World Championship eliminator. Yamashita gets a quick hype package before her entrance. We did see her on the MLP show first.
That's right. I knew. I was like, I'm pretty sure I've seen her before, but I couldn't put my finger on it because my memory is terrible.
Exactly. Yamashita had to run Miyu Storm on a chair against the barricade. Enziguri off the ropes or in the corner from Yamashita. Forearm exchange, then some nasty kicks. Yamashita like kicks really.
Some of her kicks look nasty. Yes, in a good way.
Yeah, like it's kind of crazy.
They were saying like, she's the karate background, kind of like Speedball. So
yeah. Storm came back with the German suplex. Then Storm ran for the hip attack. Yamashita connects with a heel kick for 2. Sky high from Storm for 2. A beautiful bridging fisherman suplex from Storm for 2. A Death Valley Driver-ish kind of thing, and a nasty, nasty roundhouse from Yamashita. But then eventually Storm nails the hip attack and wins with a Storm Zero.
The hip attack looked awesome.
Yeah. Then Monet comes out, tells the crowd to shut up, and she's coming for the title. Then Hayter attacks her and goes for Haterade, but Monet runs away.
The match kind of kicked into gear for me at first. I was like, this is fine. And then I thought it got really
later
good.
On it really kind of found its footing.
Yamashita, really good showing. Her kicks looked great. Really impactful looking suplexes from Storm and the hip attack and the Storm Zero. is always a really effective combination. It just looks like that would pin you.
Yeah, the hip attack was especially nasty.
Yes. Really solid TV match, I thought. Yamashita looking impressive in the limited time that we've seen her. And then the aftermath is standard stuff that you expect. So that was fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good and really kicked in later. We saw her on the MLP show, like I said. She's pretty good from what I've seen. Some crazy art shots, like her kicks are nasty. Quad win for Storm. Nothing really of storyline value, but it was a good match.
It was.
Then we get the Callis family. Callis talks about how much he likes writing and making history. That's what Takeshi and Alexander did last week, beating King and Ospreay, and he loved watching it. And he wants to make history again, and they will when Fletcher decimates Hangman and puts Ospreay to rest at Double or Nothing. Fletcher says after he beats Hangman and Ospreay, he'll take the AEW World title, and the Callis family will take their spot on the top of the mountain. Everyone will have to say his full name, and Callis laughs like a lunatic.
And says his full name, the Proto, I think it was that.
Protostar.
Yeah, more like this. Again, I keep saying it just feels like classic heel manager, heel stable stuff, which I, as an older person, quite enjoy. So
kind of really like about Rollins too.
Really impressive group. So yeah, this was good stuff.
Yeah, I love this group. I mean, a group with Takeshita, Fletcher, and now Josh Alexander all right there is pretty insane to me.
Can't go wrong.
So I love that a lot. And we're big on Fletcher. He sounded good here. Cal sounded good. They always do good work. Then we hear from the Hurt Syndicate. MVP
decision time
talks about the discussions of adding a fourth member. So he invites MJF out. He kind of kisses up to Sheldon and MVP. And then he talks to Lashley, asks if he had a good car ride, and he says it's time to vote. He gets thumbs up from the other two again. Lashley, he starts to go up, and he's still a thumbs down.
I thought it was crazy that that reaction he got from the crowd by just like
was so,
wavering his thumb around, right? Like such a weird, like the crowd is very into it.
MJF said he's sick of his shit. He wondered what Lashley wants since he gave him women, helped him win matches, get cars, and he calls him a big bald son of a bitch. This gets Lashley angry, and he grabs him by the throat and shoves him in the corner. He said if he wants to impress him, then hurt somebody, because that's what they do. MJF said he made his point, and then they left, and MJF's kind of in the corner angry.
Do you think this leads to like MJF hurting people to try and keep winning his way in?
I was wondering, like, I can't help but feel it could tie into Hangman.
I don't want it to mean MJF I don't want either of Hurt Syndicate getting involved in singles stuff at all right now.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's not an MJF Lashley thing.
I think it's trying to join them, like, for the reasons we talked about. And I feel like part of that could be him hurting Hangman.
Right.
Either he cost him against Fletcher or Ospreay,
Wink.
But yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of a similar thing they've been doing week after week, other than MJF is kind of got taken out here or like got shoved or whatever it was. So, and I don't know if this is the final decision, but it feels like MJF has to go out and hurt people to try and earn his way in.
I wonder if he's going to take that like literally,
right,
or like physically, or if he's going to like mentally start going after people like he tends to.
I think it should be physically, because that's Hurt Syndicate's brand.
I agree, but maybe he won't. He'll take it the wrong way.
He could, yeah.
And I'm curious to see if he will cost Hangman. I'm wondering if they'll tease it all, because they had the interaction the other week, so I'm not sure where they're going with that.
Me either.
Then we get an FTR vignette. Stokely talks about looking for a tag team last year, and now he's found one. He says a lot of people wonder what FTR has to do with him, but he gets things done, like having their record wiped and whatever. He talks about everyone they took out, and the goal is to solidify their legacy and regain the tag titles.
I did like him reminding us that he was looking for a tag team.
I agree, because I forgot about that, but
Me
then
too.
I remembered it. I was like, because remember, he was after Private Party when they were tag champs.
So that was nice, and he is getting a great one. And I also think, like, we've said it before, Dax is actually good on the mic, in my opinion. And Cash is fine.
I think Cash is pretty good sometimes.
But Hathaway just brings more polish, right?
I agree. And it adds another dynamic. And then it's kind of fresh because they don't always have to talk all the time.
Right. And it's like in WWE, yes, Heyman is an amazing talker, and Rollins is too, but you can
Breaker's not even bad. Breaker's fine.
You can kind of split the duty there, right? Whenever you need to. So,
like how Mox is a good talker, Claudio's actually decent, and Pac is Pac.
And again, I'm just happy if this gets FTR kind of back in the spotlight a little bit, where I can see them not on Collision doing stuff, because they're awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we did catch that one good episode of Collision where they were doing stuff.
We
at
did,
least. Then we get Nick Wayne versus Jay Lethal for the ROH World Television title. Nick Wayne's entrance gets cut off by Christians, which sucks. I like Christian, or Nick Wayne's theme.
But it's on brand for Christian.
It is.
It makes sense.
But Nick Wayne's theme I like. Speaking of which, I was telling you, because Shane Haste appeared at TNA Rebellion.
You love his theme.
His theme song is really good. It is like an actual song. It's Chimney by Southern River Band, and it's quite good. I think it's pretty good.
Is he Slapjack, right?
Slapjack.
Slapjack's theme slaps?
It does. And he's
nice.
TMDK with Sabre.
Right.
And Nick Miller. I think is Tito still in there, and then Fujita, Robbie
Bad Dude.
Ryohei Oiwa, I think, is the other dude. I don't know.
It's funny to see Bad Dude's like New Japan physique versus his indie physique when I would watch him. It is very different.
I was trying to figure out what happened to Tyler Rust, and I don't know.
He's a phantom.
He's I think he does hiking stuff.
Disappeared.
I don't actually. There's no straight answer.
Yeah.
Just his last match was in like 22 or something.
He was in the Soul Burners. He was a yoga guy. Or no, he was paired with a yoga guy back in the Indies when I watched him.
Ryan Taylor. Anyways, hip toss, cartwheel, basement dropkick from Lethal, classic stuff. Suicide dive from Lethal. And I was telling you, like the way he does it, he looked like he really shoved Wayne in the ground.
He did. He like got hands and then pushed off
and
on
like
him. Yeah.
Nick Wayne did a Hurricane Rana.
Yes.
On the floor, Lethal combination got a 2 count. Wayne countered the Macho Man elbow and a crucifix pin. Then he counters figure 4 in a small package for 2. Roundhouse kick and a fisherman buster from Wayne get the win. So he's not doing Wayne's World lately, which I'm okay with.
I'm okay with Wayne's World being a signature, but too many people are doing
it. I don't think it's quite impactful enough.
But yeah, this was a good TV match, right? So pretty much exactly what you'd expect between these two, considering like their positions in the company, right? Wayne's not losing. Lethal's there to kind of make him look good and get some of his stuff in too.
Which he can do, right? Lethal's just really a solid veteran.
Super smooth.
I think his place in the company is good. I feel like he should be on ROH more just so he's wrestling more. But like this role where he's just a good veteran to get a good match out of a newer guy like Nick Wayne.
And he's never going to make a mistake, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's just really solid and reliable.
Yep.
Nick Wayne's really smooth for his age, too. I don't think he showed as much here as usual, but for 20, he's ridiculously good.
And his character work, I feel like, is getting better quickly.
I agree. Like, he's
that's
just
the missing
coming into
piece
his own, but he's got so much time. Like, if AEW keeps him, he's a guy that could main event in, like, a decade.
Yeah, or WWE will snap him up once he's, like, fully formed wrestler.
But yeah, AEW's going to develop him and whatever. But, like, yeah, Nick Wayne's really good for his age.
He is.
We roll into the main event, which is Hangman versus Fletcher.
Which we were very much looking forward to.
For the Owen semis. Winner faces Ospreay at Double or Nothing.
Cool gear on Fletcher.
Fletcher with the pink, yeah, which he's
very
been wearing
pink.
Since.
Even my colorblindness is like, that is a pink outfit.
And his Trons are pink, too.
Yeah.
Hangman's still using his bum-ass current theme.
True.
I'm just kidding. I love that theme song. It's just...
not the original.
It's not Ghost Town Tron.
Right.
If he could bring that back for the tournament finals, I would love it. Or if he wins... Which, like, again, that's why I like so much about the tournament finals is, like, it could go either way.
It could.
It will probably be my one for certainty score.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be one of my lower ones. Because, realistically, like, you can make good reasons for Hangman or Ospreay. I think you can make a slightly better reason for Hangman. But I don't think that makes it certain either.
And further back in time, it was like, it's going to be Ospreay, right? So it's hard to sort of deviate from that, but yes.
There's that, right? But then Hangman storyline-wise, like I feel like that makes more sense. But
I agree. I think as we get closer to it, it feels more like
it should be
Hangman, but I think it always was supposed to be Ospreay, so who knows?
I could also see Ospreay not, like, he could wait though. It's Ospreay. I don't think he would.
The fact that we don't know and it's going to be an awesome match guaranteed makes it even more exciting.
With Hangman, I'm just saying, if he gets to All In, if he wins, I want him to bring his theme back in Texas. Like, come on, that would be perfect. He could come out on the horse.
He could.
And bring back the old theme song. I just want the old theme song back.
You would be thrilled.
I might cry. Hangman went for a buckshot early on. Fletcher ducks out of the ring. Hangman clotheslines him over the barricade in the timekeeper's area, which looked pretty funny. Fletcher got sent hard into the LED barricade during the commercial break and opened up a gash on his back.
Yeah, that looked nuts.
Yeah. I don't know how he bladed on his back.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
How do you blade your back like that?
Just gig in your near your tailbone,
I guess.
Hangman annihilates him with a lariat after a nice back and forth. Like, you had to rewind it because you didn't see it, but like absolutely clocked him inside out. Looked like he just went dead after that. Remember Hangman randomly got concussed against Mox in the lariat? That started their feud.
The King Kong lariat.
Yeah, as they call it. Follow slam from Hangman. A springboard lariat from Hangman knocks Fletcher off the apron. Goes up for the moonsault. Fletcher stops him. Fight on the apron. Couple kicks from Fletcher and a brainbuster on the apron, which looked gnarly.
Crazy.
They fight atop the LED barricade. Fletcher gets tripped by Hangman.
That looked good
hits
too.
Hits off face first, and a moonsault into a tombstone pile driver on the floor from Hangman. Strike exchange, nasty half and half suplex from Fletcher. Hangman comes back with a pop-up Liger bomb for 2. Deadeye gets absolutely nailed, but it's only a near fall. Fletcher got his feet up on a diving moonsault for Hangman, falls with his like a huge sit-out last ride for 2. Fletcher smashes Hangman with his running corner kick, which I love so much. It's so simple, just like runs and gets the boot under the chin, but like
looks great.
Just absolutely smashes it every time. And then Hangman gets an O'Connor roll for 2. Fletcher stops a buckshot with that running calf kick, which usually does when someone's standing against ropes, but Hangman was standing on the apron, so it's a similar spot. Hangman counters the brainbuster attempt and a Deadeye on the apron, followed by the Orihara moonsault with the ankles of granite.
That's right.
Adam Cole's real mad right now.
He is.
Fletcher shoves the ref and counters the buckshot with a dick kick and a brainbuster for a really close near
Great
fall.
Near fall.
Wicked close. If you want to make me believe Fletcher has it, that's the spot right there.
It is. I love that near fall.
I thought he had it, honestly. It was incredibly close. Fletcher hits that running corner kick again. Turnbuckle brainbuster is countered by Hangman. Knocks him off the ropes and like kind of a modified buckshot coming off the turnbuckle, which is kind of cool. Then he hits another beautiful buckshot and Hangman does advance to the finals in a great main event.
Fantastic. Like this just built and built. I think it was basically the same length as the opener, which had 8 guys and this was 2 guys. So they had to sort of pace themselves.
Yeah.
And
which I think they did really well.
I know AEW non-fans, half of those moves should finish matches. Yep. And I don't care. It's super awesome to watch.
And you can see that on both sides of the fence. We always say that.
You can find, I think it happens more often in AEW, but we always make note of it when we're watching WWE together. Like, oh, that should finish, like, but it makes the match awesome, and they deliver.
If it's done right, then it's fine.
They deliver all these moves so well, and just the arsenal on both of these guys is fantastic. Everything is clean, everything is crisp. Just an amazing near fall along the way. The crowd was super into it by the end. Like, this is a main event with stakes, and it's only to advance to the finals. It's not even the finals or a championship or anything.
If you look at
it, feels important.
How crazy this tournament is. The semifinals were this and that Ospreay Takeshita match.
Right.
That's crazy.
And I think Fletcher gets protected a bit by Hangman needing to hit 2 consecutive buckshots.
And he got really close.
Like, modified one out of the corner.
And he got really close.
So we had, like, crazy high expectations for this match, and it fully delivered for me. That's the thing. Agree. Like, there's this group of talent that I considered like the top of AEW that there's no shot that if you mix and match them, they're not having anything but a great match.
Let me rhyme. Like, if I had to think, I'd say Swerve,
yes,
Ospreay, Fletcher, Takeshita, Hangman, MJF. Honestly,
probably. Like, MJF, people are gonna laugh at that, but
no, I'd say MJF. He deserves that. Omega.
I was gonna say Omega. I didn't remember if you said him or not.
I'd like, at least that's like your 7. Then if you had to have an 8th, like, I'm just trying to think who else would who else are we like going with? I don't even know.
Any combination of that, and you're
honestly,
like,
also Ricochet. Why not Ricochet?
And even like Jay White's on the cusp for me.
Oh, Jay White is, and then Okada.
Right. So like, you got like 10 guys that are just like
the 10 upper echelon right
incredible there. And would be the top of any company.
And I'd say pretty much all of them have some really good characters. Some more fleshed out than others, because I think like Omega is kind of straightforward right now, but then you have Hangman, who's like my favorite complex character in pro wrestling. You have Swerve, who's super layered, and Ospreay is like a real person.
Yep.
And then Fletcher and Takeshita are like the classic faction heels, a la the Heenan family. It's just great.
So I love this match.
These are 2 of my favorite guys. Hangman's one of the best AEW has had their whole time he's here. He's the main character for a reason. He's like the franchise player for a reason. I think he's fantastic in every facet. And Fletcher's a star in the making. I think it's painfully obvious now.
Yep.
If you're not
8.72 on Cage Match.
If you ain't buying that, then I don't know what you're seeing, because Fletcher's got all the tools.
9 people gave it a 7 out of 10. You're dumb.
You're dumb. Great work for both guys. It started slow, but they got that pacing right. They had enough time to pace it out. A lot of great spots. The apron spot, actually both apron spots, stuff off the barricade. The near fall for Fletcher was really amazing, and I think the 2 buckshots to kind of protect Fletcher. And I thought Fletcher also had a not zero chance, because the finals would have set up him and Ospreay again, which is a likely match.
I was pretty confident it was Hangman, and so 100%, were you, but not 100%.
I think Fletcher had a better chance than most, because he's been on the rise and because it's Ospreay.
Yep.
So I think having Ospreay already in the finals kind of boosted Fletcher's chances, even though you always knew it wasn't going to be
No involvement of Callis family is a bit surprising too, but I like that decision just because Like,
he did cheat a bit, but it was on his own.
I just want the pureness of this match.
Yeah.
Right?
The 2 buckshot stand was a great finish. Hangman for Ospreay is one hell of a final. Should feed families. Should be amazing. And it's anybody's game, which makes it even more fun.
Yeah. Overall, another really strong episode. I thought bookended by excellent star-studded matches, right? That were very, very different. One was like a super high-paced spot fest, whatever you want to say. And then the other one was just a match between 2 guys who can do everything. So you throw in a good women's match, right? A solid mid-card title match with Wayne and Lethal, a squash, whatever. It was in-ring heavy for sure, but when the quality's this high, I don't really have an issue. It's kind of the opposite of last week's Raw, right? It was amazing, but that was because it was mostly the stories and the segments and few matches. This is sort of the inverse of that.
They don't always deliver on matches for me, but the stories are usually pretty good.
Right. So the only real segments were kind of Hurt Syndicate.
Which I think is solid.
Which it was fine. Didn't bother me at all. Overall, really, I went A- just because like the strength of those 2 matches. And like, I just really enjoyed watching Dynamite. The last like 3
weeks have been
there's
really
been nothing
stellar.
below a B+, right? So just, we're sort of in a peak right now of AEW, which is great. I look forward to the weekly show right now.
I think the weekly product's been.
I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I think Double or Nothing is shaping up to be really well because, well, we don't have the world title match, but I assume we'll get Anarchy in the Arena, which are usually pretty fun matches.
Yeah, they are.
Monet Hater should be a great women's match
in ring. Yeah,
Hangman Ospreay
fantastic.
It should easily be my most anticipated match on the card, most unpredictable match on the card, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And that should be great. So I'm really excited. The TV product's been great though. Spring Breakthrough was
awesome.
A smash hit.
Yeah.
Really came out swinging to beat out
In
Nitro.
hindsight, I should have given that an A if I'm giving this an A- because it was better than this.
Yeah.
So if I retro do it, it'd be an A.
I agree because that was a banger. Last week was really good too.
Yep.
This week was also stellar. Like 2 fantastic matches, which were both really different. And another good match in the women's match in the squash even was like just
useful.
Because of how the guys were selling. Yep. Honestly, really good squash. So no bad matches. The only major segment was a pretty good one, even though it's like kind of iffy for me. It was still good. Cal's was good. The FTR thing was good. Monet was kind of the only down part for me, I think, her segment, but it's a minor thing. So I'm going to go with an A- as well. Generally, really strong stuff.
Great show. Dynamite's on a roll. I hope it continues,
I think
obviously.
So. I really hope they continue the roll into Double or Nothing because that would bode well
for that show.
That show, yeah.
All right, Dynamite's done. We're going to move into talking about a little bit of trivia, segment we always call Off the Top of His Head. All right, since we're done destroying our tiny studio in here, a couple bowls in a china shop, I smashed the camera first, then my microphone. And
I'm knocking over tissue boxes and bumping my own microphone. So we're just doing great here.
In honor of the Dynamite main event, I went with Hangman Page's 15 highest rated AEW matches.
You've been prepping this all week, so I'm really excited.
According to Meltzer.
Yeah, this one in the chamber.
Absolutely. I've been thinking about this forever, researching just like crazy. So, starts off with a 3.5-star match from AEW Double or Nothing 2021.
Oh, Brian Cage.
Why would you know that?
Because he randomly was bleeding from the head.
This is why I do this. I don't know why you would know that.
It was the one Davis, but he took a hit to the head, so he's bleeding hard way, I think. And it was in the video package. Remember the Dark Order Elite multi-man tag, and he had the cool video package with the need to be a cowboy.
Your friends are stomping around like Clydesdales up
that
there.
Was in that match was in that package.
Gotcha. 14 3 3/4 stars AEW Full Gear 2019. If it's right.
I don't know. This is is it Pac?
It is Pac.
Yeah.
Why?
Woo!
Why would you know that?
Because they were supposed to have a match at I think First Double or Nothing, but then they didn't due to Dragon Gate stuff that Pac was doing. And then yeah.
Nice.
They were supposed to have a match before.
AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door 2022, 4 stars.
Oh, that was Hangman, Adam Cole, Switchblade Okada.
They're saying no.
That's the one where Cole gets concussed.
They just have Okada.
No.
So they're not
quite
right.
It was the 4-way. It was Switchblade and Cole too, because that's the one where Switchblade wore red, and then that was the one where Cole got concussed and he was out for
I believe you more than this source. So AEW Rampage, good luck. April 15th, 2022, 4 stars.
Adam Cole?
Yeah.
Texas Death.
Texas Death.
Yeah.
Correct. Very good. Number 11, 4.25 stars. AEW Double or Nothing, May 29th, 2022.
What's this? It was Anarchy in the Arena, wasn't
Significant title defense. Doesn't say that.
Wait, no. Punk. Because I was thinking the year after. It was the one where he lost to Punk.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Number 10, 4.5 stars. AEW All Out 2024.
Oh, Swerve in the cage, yeah.
Yep. Didn't mention the cage, or did it?
It was the cage.
It doesn't mention the cage here, but I believe you. AEW Revolution 2022, 4.5 stars. Adam Cole is correct.
Baby.
AEW Dynamite, February 2022, 4.5 stars.
February 2022.
I do have a hint. I was going to say I have a hint. I have a hint if you need it. Texas Death. It was Archer. We did really like that.
Yeah, that was the one where the top rope was gone, and then he did a buckshot over the ref.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
AEW Dynamite 2022, 5 stars.
5 star.
I can give you a hint if you need it.
Mox?
No. Rematch.
Archer? Or was it Cole?
No. Following their initial draw, this rematch.
Oh, Danielson.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were really good matches. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just without the date, it's confusing.
I could have given you the date. January 5th.
Yeah, okay.
That would have helped.
TBS debut. Yes.
Oh, okay. AEW Full Gear 2023, 5 stars.
That's Swerve.
That is Swerve. Violent and emotionally charged match.
One of the greatest wrestling matches ever.
Correct. Agree. AEW Double or Nothing 2023, 5 stars.
This is the Anarchy.
It is Anarchy in the Arena.
That was a really good one. I did really like that one.
It was fun. Number 4, AEW Revolution 2023, 5 stars.
That was Mox, Texas Death.
He's
got a lot of those.
Yeah, he has. AEW Dynamite Winter is Coming 2021, 5 stars.
Danielson. That was the draw.
60-minute draw.
That was a really good match.
It was amazing. Some people say too long.
And they both had really good ring gear that match.
So those are all the 5 stars. We're getting into above 5-star territory now because, infinite.
So these are all horrible, by the way.
AEW Full Gear 2021, 5.5 stars.
Omega.
Yes. Hangman Omega.
I honestly don't. I know the build to that match was like, that's the storyline everyone talks about, but I don't remember the match being like, obviously it was really good, but I don't remember it being like amazing.
Culminating of a long-term storyline.
I mean, the storyline was great. Let's be real.
And number 1, 6 stars, AEW Revolution 2020.
The greatest tag match ever.
That is your opinion, and I don't know if you're wrong.
I need to watch it again, though, because that's what it was called, and I remember it being amazing, but I'd need to watch it again, because I need Max.
It was a fantastic match.
But so that's one of the greatest matches
Page Omega,
ever.
Young Bucks, yes.
That's such a good
It says,
match.
Widely regarded as one of the greatest tag matches in history.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. All right, you absolutely smashed that as I expected. Now we'll go back to talking more wrestling, not quite as in-depth, just quicker summaries of a couple shows we watched this week. It'll be Raw and NXT as we cover it in Highspots and Restholds. Okay, so taking a look at Raw, I did make a note that you were around for a lot of it this week.
I remember some of it.
And so I thought it was another solid episode. I like it's sort of like they've reset.
I liked what I saw.
Some new stuff. So yeah, it's been entertaining. So what you did like, I know, is Rollins' new group comes out first, and he's in a crazy outfit, especially the sunglasses, right?
The pants were nuts,
The
too.
pants were also crazy.
Yeah, the sunglasses had like eyeballs on the outside.
Yeah, he eventually hands them off to Heyman, but he wears them for a bit.
Still crazy.
Quick summary here. The future of wrestling goes through him. Sami Zayn comes out, and he compares Rollins to Punk and Reigns and points out that the arrangement is hypocritical since it resembles the bloodline so much. Rollins talks about how much he loves Sami and that Sami clearly isn't buying into Seth's vision, so that Heyman has pulled some strings and Sami can basically get out and go to SmackDown to avoid the wrath of Rollins. Sami has to make that decision by the end of the show. A little bit later in the locker room, just to summarize that as well, Heyman sort of talks to Sami, and basically one of the lines was, you can live in the future or die with the past. And I thought Heyman was being like kind of quietly threatening, because Braun's kind of standing in the doorway, right, as the muscle. So your thoughts on this stuff?
I really like it.
Me too.
And I think it's super interesting, and I think it bodes well for the future.
And for a new heel faction, for your first interaction to be with Sami Zayn as a babyface is freaking genius.
I agree, and I think just because
and there is the history
set up
there.
How much they are friends too.
Recently.
So we've set it up recently, I think in the last couple years.
Even just going into Mania, there was a lot of
that as well. But I think even recently, but even also I remember in the run-up to War Games last year, and then in the War Games when they actually teamed together the year before that. So I feel like it's been set up a decent amount. Like it's to the point where it does make sense here, and I think that it creates a really great dynamic, and Sami's really great.
Sami's fantastic. So I really enjoyed this as well, and just Braun being like the silent muscle is so effective.
I think it works. Yeah, not that he's a bad promo or anything.
No, it's not, but he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
His physical charisma and his presence
he can
carry him a long way.
Off of that.
We get Roxanne Perez taking on Rhea Ripley. I thought this was a good match. You had Roxanne being smart and targeting the legs of the much larger Rhea Ripley, right? So that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Julia comes in, shows up, stops a Riptide with a chop block, so the match is a DQ. The heels then attack Rhea Ripley after the match. I wrote Ripley makes the save, but that can't be what happened. Who would it have been?
That is an excellent question. This was one of the things I did not really pay attention to, because I remember being there because you were talking about how
was
Ripley...
it Io?
Probably.
Yes, and commentary...
Because she said she was going to show up to NXT the next day, which is why she was there.
They seem to be angling towards this is NXT women versus Raw women, so I'm guessing a tag match.
I think I saw that Perez and Julia are going up because they have the Raw patches for the trading cards.
Oh, interesting. We get some Judgment Day stuff.
Because McDonough's back.
JD told Dominic that JD was returning, and he kind of... because Balor didn't know, right?
Yeah, and
so
then
it's like, well, I'd let Dom know. I assumed he would let you know.
Liv got them a tag match, and Balor didn't know. So it's kind of like Balor being out of the loop on
that's exactly
everything,
what it is.
right?
And it was Liv thought it was a good idea for them to have the tag match, but Balor didn't know. So yeah, he's out of the loop. They're going to face the War Raiders later tonight to get back on track. And at one point, Liv's line was like, "Since you're not a champion, I thought you'd be interested, right?" Like
that. Yeah, this the backhanded like. Condescending
so I'm back
tone there.
I've come kind of back around to enjoying this story a little
because it's actually something interesting to look at now, right? And they're kind of actually doing something,
and it's been
them.
A super slow burn, and the JD coming back and sort of he's more on the ins than Balor when Balor's been there the whole time.
Interesting, yeah,
adds a little more dynamic.
It does, yeah.
And Liv is really good in this role.
Being like passive aggressive, kind of.
When she has something to work with, she's quite good. So
yeah, and it makes more sense.
Kind of back in on them.
It's also because she's not champion either. So like being champion is great for their notoriety and everything, but she never did much with the title. Even though she was doing some great work, it was never. You could have taken the title completely out of the equation.
Yes,
and it would basically have been the same because if Ripley didn't get injured. Because since Liv's whole thing was taking everything away from Ripley, if Ripley hadn't been injured, she'd be Ripley for the title. Then the title being there adds something to that specific storyline. But she didn't because Ripley got injured. She'd be Becky for it. And so it was still kind of taking Ripley's title, but not really, right? So they could have done that whole thing without the title. But then I guess it ended up being a title match.
She's come a long way in the ring and character-wise. Like she used to be very...
She's really bad in the ring.
She's cute and I don't know what else. But now she's
I still don't think she's great.
No. She's not,
but she's passable
in the ring, but she's good.
She's not Anna Jay, someone who just came back.
We then get Logan Paul in the ring. I thought it was funny because he said the people are a victim of circumstance because they live in Kansas City. So that was a nice way of, like, that's obviously a standard insult the city, but I thought it was a funny way of going about it. And that they're basically booing him because they don't recognize greatness. He disses Jey Uso, tells him his days are numbered. Jey Uso comes out. I made a note of maybe a less hot response than sometimes, which I'm okay. It'd be ironic he gets the title and people are like, eh.
Right? Hey, whatever it takes for people to wake up.
He calls Paul a punk-ass YouTuber, which the crowd enjoyed. He says the title is not given, it's earned. If Paul wants it, come take it. So Paul says Uso sounds stupid and that he has done more in 4 years than Jay has in 14.
I saw some video.
Not a bad line other than the guy standing there with the title.
Basically deconstructing the promo where it's like how bad Jay's promos are. 'Cause he's like, he'll say some one line, take a pause, he's thinking what to say, not quite that. Then he'll say like a random thing, then do like the yeet.
I'll never forget his first promo as IC champ.
Yeah, so like I saw some basically like kind of
bad.
Not in exactly a breakdown, but in that vein
of
his promo, and it's just like he's not good, and
It's like paint by numbers. He has his things he does, and he just does that.
Yeah, and then he's like struggling for things to say, and he can't quite get the full thing articulated, and you know what I mean? He's just not a singles guy.
Paul says he'll take the title and Jay will crash out, and then Jay's had enough, so he super kicks Paul. And I told you I saw an image of a freeze frame side by side of Jay's super kick of Paul being his leg is like bent still, and it's kicking him in the shoulder very clearly. And then it was of Shawn Michaels super kicking, I don't even know who.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like full extension.
Compare
right
that
to
Fletcher's super kicks on Dynamite since he was doing it recently. Or better yet, 40-something-year-old Shelton Benjamin murdering fools.
I was telling you, this whole angle makes the title feel so insignificant because you have Seth Rollins coming out here is clearly the biggest star on your program right now. And he has nothing to do with the title. And then you have this guy and Logan Paul, who's fine, and Logan you're clearly Paul's elevating
good, but
him.
I don't think it's a world title challenge.
It doesn't. It doesn't feel like a world title holder, and it doesn't feel like a world title challenger. And so the title is hurt by this, in my opinion.
And you were saying Rollins doesn't need the title per se.
He doesn't.
But I think it would help him, and I think the title needs him, though.
I think you're right. The title needs him more than he needs the title.
But I think that's still enough reason to put on him, because I think the only time this title felt on par with the other belt was when Rollins was the first champion and he was working his ass off to make it mean something, right? I think we all know what the main title is, and we will always know that, but this one should still feel as if it can be on par with that, and I don't think it has, because McIntyre's run doesn't count because it was 5 minutes, but Priest immediately, no offense, Damian Priest holding the world title immediately, it's kind of like Jay, immediately makes it feel less to me.
And Gunther started to make it feel good again, and then they
just didn't
put him in a Jay program super early, and they just
didn't book it like his IC title run. So I'd argue he made the IC title feel more important than that belt if we're comparing his run, like apples to apples with his title run. So I think because his run would have overlapped with Rollins' world title run. So I'm not saying it was more important than that. But what I'm saying is Rollins could revitalize the title, and I think that would work out really well. And then you could build up a face that's worth beating him for the title.
Paul Jay feels like a mid-card feud for a main title.
It feels like
it's a little disconnecting.
Something that shouldn't have a title.
War Raiders take on Balor and McDonough, and New Day are there at commentary because the winner of this gets a title shot. Pretty good action throughout it. New Day at some point get taken out at ringside. Penta shows up to get revenge. He shoves McDonough off the ropes, and a War Machine to JD back from his injury to take pins yet again.
I imagine he'll take another one next week.
War Machine win, War Raiders? Which is it?
War Raiders.
Raiders, right. A rope machine. Good tag match. Penta gets his revenge. I thought McDonough looked good in his return, and we're running back New Day and War Raiders.
And running back McDonough, the eternal whipping boy.
Right. Too bad, because he's awesome. Becky Lynch gets in the ring to speak. She admits that she took out Bayley. Like, I'm not going to leave any mystery, blah, blah, blah. I did it, which is fine.
Makes sense.
She says Bayley has done lots to her. Bayley whines too much. Lyra is the friend of Becky's enemy, so she is Lynch's enemy as well. Lyra interrupts. Many people have warned her about Becky, and Bayley was the first one to do it. She'll make Lynch pay. She gets in the ring, but Becky retreats as Lyra reminds her that she beat Lynch for the NXT title last time they fought. Fair point. Lyra hits like a drop kick through the ropes, some punches. Becky retreats to the back, but then kind of sneaks back out to attack Lyra from behind when she's on the ramp. So,
I mean, I guess it could elevate the title if it's Becky.
Yeah, it can for sure.
I know they're not planning to add more people, but I think Becky should be in the Rollins group.
I think it'd be cool too.
I think it just works.
And I like Lyra in ring a lot, but there is a clear like charisma chasm between Lynch and
100%
Lyra, right? 100%. Unfortunately. Lyra's really good in ring, don't get me wrong, but Becky is different charisma wise, and it's kind of glaring, unfortunately. And maybe it'll rub off, and maybe that's
bird thing's not really a character, right? It's also not a real thing that people do.
It's not. They really haven't invested any time in Lyra as
even
a person.
in NXT. I would say they did minimal investment in her.
Yeah, they tried to at least be like, she's not just a bird. I don't really know what the rest was, but they were trying to get away from she's a bird.
I feel like in general they never did a like.
No, it was never great.
Job of differentiating her.
But she's really good in the ring, so hopefully that she can figure out that part.
Yeah.
And you know how I was thinking about this? You know how I know we are more in-ring people than character people? Because what is more acceptable to you? A really good in-ring person who has weak character, or a really strong character who sucks in the ring?
That's true.
Right? Like, to me, if those things are distributed equally, I will take the person who crushes it in the ring and is okay character-wise.
Yeah, because I would say, like, Speedball's incredible in the ring, but his character work is, like, solid.
And I'm still like, yes, Speedball.
But, like, Liv Morgan's doing good character work, and she's, like, okay in the ring.
Karrion Kross right now.
Karrion Kross, yes.
Really enjoying his stuff.
I agree. I've been enjoying his stuff.
But don't need the bell to ring.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's another thing that bothered me about The Rock thing. Like, it doesn't always have to end in the match.
Yeah.
What are we building to then?
I know. Like, it's wrestling.
Another segment? Segments build to things. That's all they're there for.
Correct. The payoff is match.
Right? It's World Wrestling Entertainment. Sports entertainment, guess where the sports comes from? Wrestling.
What?
So, like, that's why WWE is always, like, a little step behind for me, is that, like, they can build things really great. Both companies can build things really great on their best day, but only one company is going to provide me the satisfaction of a good in-ring payoff.
And AEW is going to throw you an 8-man match that's freaking amazing
on a whim,
without a major story attached to it. You know what I mean? And I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I know. Penta gets his match with McDonough for next week.
I will watch that.
Gable shows up and says he loves seeing El Grande Americano beat Phoenix at Mania, so Penta kicks him because, like, you can't say that about my brother. Rusev vignette, basically summarizing that. Once upon a time, he had it all, then he lost himself, fell into the abyss. I think that's like a reference to AEW, which is whatever. They love to take their shots, right?
You gotta do it again.
He found himself and redeemed himself. He had an epiphany. He will crush people not because he is told to, but because he wants to. He will he will hunt people, forgive them, and fix them like he fixed himself.
Would you say he hurts people?
Yes. And so it seems pretty close to the Redeemer.
It is, and
right?
I was saying to you, it's so weird. It's just not Bulgarian now. I love when they do that. He's like the foreign thing.
I think he even referenced it in this. Like,
yeah, it's the reverse Akeem. You know, it's like one man gang's like, and then he's like, I'm African. You know, as you do. So he's just renouncing Bulgaria.
I'm fine with seeing how WWE handles it.
I'm okay with that. It's just I wish he came back as Miro then, because like, although actually I disagree. I take that back because I think it's weird when they like Sean Spears.
Yeah,
I think that's weirder. But I do think it's weird that because I associate Rusev with being Rusev, but this is Rusev as Miro.
He is
which
doing
makes
the
it sound
Miro
like it's a Tony
Redeemer
Storm
gimmick
thing, where it's like, oh, she's playing rookie Tony Storm, but like, you know what I mean? It's
yes.
like, it's Rusev playing Miro, which I think is really weird. But I'll get used to it eventually. It's just strange to me as an AEW guy.
So, again, I told you someone's speculating that he's going to start like redeeming people. Like he's going to deal with Otis first and maybe like...
I don't like that. I don't know. It just lacks depth.
And how many people can you do that with? Other than like jobbers and enhancement
Not everyone
people.
needs to be redeemed.
Right.
Because you were just talking about Messiah Rollins, right? Like,
yeah.
Similar vein.
So I do worry about him slipping through the cracks, but I thought
agree.
This was a cool first vignette.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Is people, especially the tribalists, love to crow about how Tony fumbled. They're getting all these people from they're taking all these people from AEW. Exactly, but like they're taking all these people from AEW and like trying to rub it in AEW's face and like, oh, we took all these people and they came back with this big pomp and circumstance and they're doing so much better. Unless it's someone in NXT or the Lucha Bros who are new, like what has Andrade done since he's come back? Who else have they taken? Like,
well, it'll be Malachi.
Andrade. Malachi is gonna get screwed. Rusev's gonna get screwed.
They'll all be the same, basically. I think.
Like Spears is done solid. Ego's done solid, but I think
not
that's
better. They haven't been main rostered even.
They haven't been main rostered. That's the thing, though. I think he's done better in terms of he's won a title, but in Starks has. But like
Jade Cargill.
Where has Andrade been? Who else have they picked up recently? Because I know they've been picking people up.
Can't think of them offhand.
Sight of it, but like
Cody would be the big example, right? But
here's the thing with Cody, he would not be this big if he didn't go to AEW.
Well, and he wrote himself a storyline where he couldn't win
the world title,
the main title, so that's kind of on him.
There's also that, but the thing is, like, he literally would not have had that big comeback.
He went to AEW and his stock flew up.
He came back with his AEW character. You can't tell me that it's like, oh, the AEW, whatever, like, blah, 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 blah. But he came back with his AEW gimmick. AEW clearly did, and honestly, I don't think he ever like fit there as much as he did in WWE anyway.
Oh, he's a WWE guy.
It's where he belongs. It makes sense. Oh, I guess CM Punk's one of the AEW guys, but like he's not.
He's just undeniably going to be a main guy.
He's also not like an AEW guy. He's a WWE guy who went to AEW and then came back. But like, who else? I swear there's other people who have come back. I'm just
sure
like
there are.
Scrolling the roster right now, and I'm trying to remember, and I can't because I know like. They fumbled Andrade. They fumbled other people too, and I'm trying to think of it, but maybe it'll come to me as I'm looking. But keep going.
Stephanie Vaquer took on Ivy Nile.
I thought you were talking about Stephanie McMahon. I was like, oh.
And Jack liked Gable's T-shirt.
The El Grande Americanos numero uno.
Yes, we get holds and counters to start. Ivy counters the Devil's Kiss once, sort of. She did not get, and even commentaries. I think is it Graves? One of them. It's like, oh, he didn't. Not Graves because he's NXT now. So maybe I don't know who it was. Was like Pat she didn't get the legs trapped the way she wanted, which she didn't. But then Vaquer does hit it and hits it again. Gable puts Niles' foot on the ropes at one point. I didn't love it because it made Vaquer look stupid because she went for a pinfall like an inch from the ropes.
Yeah.
Which Vaquer's too good for that. Anyways, Vaquer gets out of the ring, confronts Gable, and then ends up taking a German suplex from Nile on the floor and then another one back in the ring. Vaquer hits a superplex. She seems to now be leading to the SVB with a dragon screw out of the corner, which does usually look pretty good. Vaquer picks up the win after 10 minutes. Nile seems to be improving finally, because I've been so much like plateaued. She needed more time in Performance Center.
But better.
But she's looked good. And part of it might be Vaquer's just so damn good she can carry, right? Because she's awesome.
She is really good.
Super talented. She just comes across different from everybody else somehow. I don't know if it's her style or where she trained or whatever it is. Her time in NXT will be brief, I think, right? Like if Julia's already coming up.
I think so, right?
Yeah.
Like she's one of those ones that doesn't really need the developmental other than to get used to the system.
And maybe speaking more.
I agree.
And that's about it. Aldis and AJ are backstage. AJ Styles, I'm like, AJ Francis?
AJ Lee?
Who are we talking about here? They're interrupted by Judgment Day. Liv, this is where she mentions she's going to film a movie.
Her big movie.
And Dom's basically like, I want some time off too, because he's a champion and can do whatever he wants. Aldis is like, actually, no, when you're a champion, you have to wrestle more or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Dom makes some old jokes in AJ's direction and then leaves, and Aldis and AJ hint about making an AJ-Dom match.
Bad Lieutenant Tokyo. What is that?
I don't know. Karrion Kross crosses paths with Sammy, and what was your favorite part about this?
Oh, yeah, I was like, because he's trying to get Sammy to do the right thing, which he doesn't specify what it is, which is smart, but then he's got Sammy's exact hair.
So like, he's doing the hair mimicry still.
I actually think the Sammy hair looks good on him, though. Like I think that should be his style if he wasn't doing this. You know what I mean?
So he continues to just kind of be devil's advocate or whatever he's doing backstage, just sort of mixing in with people for no real reason, it seems. So it's kind of interesting for sure. McAfee stands up on the commentary table. He's going to address being choked out by Gunther last week.
He's humble.
Oh, God. That people love this, I see. People forgotten who he is. He's still that dog, son of a truck driver. He's every man, obviously, as he's a multi-millionaire podcaster. He's just super relatable as every man.
You know.
Yeah. He wants to be remembered as a hard worker and a guy who gave money to all these charities, which if he does, he mentioned a whole bunch. Good for him. Then he's super cool, so he gets to swear a few times, right? Nobody else does. He does. Guys. The Rock does. If you have enough mainstream appeal, you can curse more than everybody else. Swears some more. Aldis comes out to tell him to stay professional. McAfee wants to fight Gunther, and it will happen at Backlash. And I'm just like, what a waste of Gunther. Imagine if he loses here. I will be annoyed.
I want to say he won't.
The match, I mean, we have seen McAfee step up and be decent in the ring before,
in NXT 5 years ago.
Right. But this whole, like, I'm every man, basically I'm the son of a plumber, like, as you're one of the highest paid podcasters
Cody's gone,
you can find.
We got to have one.
I guess so. So I guess the promo was fine. I just don't have any interest in this guy, and he irritates me. I guess the silver lining is it'll get him off commentary if he has to wrestle a match. Because, man,
I hate him.
On Mania, it was too much. The first match, I was like, this guy. And it seems to be the tide's turning on him a bit. You said so, too.
I like that. And then some people are still defending him. And I was like, just stop.
No. So it's Jay and Sammy backstage now. Jay is just telling Sammy he loves him, tells him to do what's best for him. And then there's kind of a lingering look by Jay. I don't know if that's in retaliation to Sammy. There was a moment where people were wondering if Sammy was going to turn on Jay last week. Anyways, it also sets up a pretty good looking,
absolutely decked by Paul. It was great.
Out of nowhere sucker punch that knocks Jay out. I thought it looked really good. It looked better than the super kick did. And then Rollins next calls Sammy to the ring to make his decision. Seth says it hurts him that Sammy doesn't believe in him. He and Sammy are true friends in a business where there are not that many.
I like how Rollins, it's clearly trying to manipulate him.
Oh, yeah.
I really like how it comes across.
Sammy agrees that their friendship transcends wrestling, but that's outside of the ring. And inside the ring, Seth is playing games, and he's good at it. And I liked it, too, because Sammy
knows, though.
And he's kind of like, but the games you play and the politicking you do, and that's all the stuff I'm not willing to do, and that's why I've never been champion. Right? All of these games you're playing that you're so good at, that's why you get all these title runs, and that's what's holding me back. Sorry, the titles always eluded Sammy. Sammy will never run away. He will not stand there and let his friend threaten him. He's like, that's what you're doing. You're threatening me, and I won't let you do it. He's been a target 1,000 times before and can live with it again. He will not be threatened. He will win a WWE championship, and when he does, it will not be because of any favor, but because he did it the right way. He respects and loves Seth, but Seth can go to hell. And then so Braun and Heyman enter. My God, Sami
and Braun's entrance looked sick with like the black spotlight on him and Heyman. It's great, but Sami is so great. He gets that like heartfelt.
He gets you, like I say it about a few people, he makes you feel the way you're supposed to feel.
Him and most people won't agree with it because they're not as AEW, but like him and Eddie Kingston
are
really
I always say that about Eddie.
Eddie Kingston's fantastic.
Eddie comes in and they're like, they give him the direction of, okay, we need the fans to feel this way when you're done talking. And he's like, boom, got it, good. And it's done.
He'll come up in a bit. But yeah, Sami's just so good at like, and like making it feel real too, and making the friendship feel real, and like just it's so good, and it's so perfect for heel Rollins because Rollins is trying to manipulate him and give him a way out to get out of his way, but Sami's too pure of a babyface and also too smart of a he's not a dumb babyface. He's not gonna get manipulated by, oh, you're giving me this opportunity, thank you, or like, or you're not trying to manipulate me and take advantage of me or something, or like try to shove me out of your way, or you are trying to threaten me. You're just trying to. It's thinly veiled, right?
Yes, you're trying to act nice by giving me an out, but you really...
It's a threat.
The bottom line is you're willing to kick the crap out of me, right? And that's,
Yeah, so I really
not
like
how
it.
Friends go.
It's great all around because Rollins, I think this is the best thing Rollins has done in a while.
And like we said, putting his first interactions with Sami, who is just an all-time babyface.
Because it's kind of a weird line. Like, they're singing along to his entrance and doing his whole thing, but then they start booing him when he talks. So I think we need to start... I think he needs a new theme song.
So let's put him opposite the greatest babyface so that he can really heal it.
And I think Punk is a good option, too, later on because feud, and also Punk is popular, it or not. I think Rollins also needs a new theme. I think we need to kill the singing.
They won't.
They won't, but I think they need to.
Yeah. Then it is the main event when Braun's entrance is cool. It's Braun taking on Sami Zayn here. Sami's not even in ring gear for this because it's coming right off this segment, right?
Yeah.
Seth is watching stoically from ringside. He's like leaning against the announce table and not moving and not reacting. And even when the action takes it out to the table, he still doesn't even move. He has zero reaction to any of this, which I thought was a good choice too. Sami gets thrown around a lot by Braun, obviously. Gets a few flurries of his own. Braun does the spot where he leaps off the apron to clothesline Sami over the table. And again, Seth is just standing there motionless. We get a sunset bomb by Sami for 2. Tornado DDT a bit later as Heyman starts to look a little bit concerned here. Brakensteiner. Sami exploder into the corner. Spear by Braun coming out of the corner. Another spear. Seth is then in Sami's ear telling Sami, take the deal, get out. Sami eventually tells him to go to hell. Again, this is just the field mics or whatever, ringside picking up this.
Which I love when they do that. It
makes
it come across
way more real than if he grabs a mic and another spear. Sami falls basically right to Seth's feet, which I also thought was a nice touch. The ref starts checking on Sami.
Rollins is a subtle, like The Rock kind of.
Yes, this allows Braun to hit a running spear.
Just the run around
runs around the ring, picking up.
It's such a good build.
I like that he starts slow, and then it's like around one corner. He's now going medium speed. The visual of him
doing a lap around the ring is so. It's only he can pull that off, because otherwise it's kind of stupid, like Braun.
The ref stops the match, calls for medical help for Sammy. The crowd is still chanting one more time, unfortunately.
Yeah, like, for a crowd who loves Sami Zayn and Rollins supposed to be the heel, they have no sympathy.
I think the part of the problem, it's not really a problem, is that Braun's spear is so damn good, you just want to see it again.
Yeah,
right?
It's so great.
Seth talks,
and he's been kind of tweener before. Like, I think it's going to take time for him to, like, heal again, right?
And again, you can hear Seth now talking to Braun about people who deserve respect and that Sammy has made his own bed. And then Seth stomps Sammy as just the final, like, dude, you had a chance, right?
I like that it was kind of, because it kind of almost comes across as him trying to, like, have Breakker as his lapdog or whatever, but it's clearly, like, because he was saying it's his first lesson or whatever. So
it's mentoring.
It is mentoring, and so I like that they got that point across.
Me
because
too.
you can see that's what it is.
This is really good storytelling, and people can, like, we don't always love WWE, but credit where credit is due. I think this is awesome.
Really good, yeah.
Good match, finish that makes Braun look like a beast. Rollins looks like a villain who he can feel justified because he gave his friend a chance to avoid the beating.
Heel logic.
So in his mind, he's like, listen, man, he could have avoided all this by just going to another show.
Yeah.
We had it all set up for
shot,
him.
Right?
So I thought this was a fantastic finish to the show. Seth feels like the top guy even without the belt.
Which is, I like that because I feel like the visionary thing kind of got lost after a while. And so it finally feels like he's doing something important and he's the big star that he is.
And the Heyman effect, right?
The Heyman effect, yeah. I mean,
big.
He's always big because the Shield made stars out of all of them.
Yes.
But this makes him feel like a major player again in a way where it's like he's a notable act.
Because Heyman doesn't back anybody that's not a super mega star. So as soon as he hitches his wagon to you, it's like you're another level.
Right.
Now.
And it's a credit to Braun, too, that he's involved. And I like it because behind the scenes, Heyman's been helping him with his work, apparently, for the last few years. So I like that they get to work together on screen.
So great story being told here. I'm super interested. It might be enough to bring you back to check out Raw every now and then, right? So
I've been watching everything they've done at least.
Great work. Yep. NXT, you're around for a bit of this as well. We get some TNA highlights on NXT, and that just seems crazy.
Which will be poignant.
Seems crazy to me.
It is so insane. Because, like, even 5 years ago, I'd say, they would just act like no one existed.
Didn't
if you
exist.
Went to TNA,
no
you
other
were
company
dead.
exists.
But now they're
WWE would barely acknowledge NXT existed at one point.
Honestly, yeah. So it's insane.
So
even though it's a 3-minute squash, the TNA World Champion was at WrestleMania. That's absurd.
Crazy. Trick showed up at whatever the pay-per-view was to sneak attack Hendry. So that was the main point of that. Hendry comes out to start the show. He says Trick has changed. Trick can't stand that people talk about Hendry and not him. Calls out Trick, but Dark State show up instead. They hit their team powerbomb on Hendry. I said Jack is not a fan of Dark State's presentation.
It's just so... It feels so forced, and it feels so try-hard. And, like, I mean, even without them trying to... With the backstage reports or whatever, it definitely feels like they're trying to manufacture another Shield type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it honestly, I wouldn't have never thought Shield. I would have thought Retribution, because
feels
I don't think
like
it's very good. Like... The over-the-top lighting and the music playing when they're beating people down, the Shield never had to do that and never did do that. I think it would have looked stupid.
Well, it kind of doesn't make sense because you're this crazy, like, attack out of nowhere, but you've got the lighting guy and the sound guy on board.
The Shield had their music often, but, like, they eventually became Authority guys, so it works different. But yeah, having this music and lighting whole production thing is stupid. And then you look at, like, Saquon Sugars, and he's just trying so hard. It's like he's like doing this weird sway back and forth, and he's wearing his sweater not like, you know what I mean, just like
half on.
He's wearing it like a scarf almost, but with like one sleeve. It's like, just stop.
So
it's so ridiculous, and it just doesn't work. And their powerbomb thing isn't that good, and it's just not that great.
You were a little surprised because my visceral reaction to Hendry was kind of like, ugh. I'm kind of not like. There's a ceiling to his character that I think he's up against.
I feel like you're reacting to him the same way you would if they made LA Knight champion.
Yeah, probably.
Because he's got good promos, he's got a good character, and he's really over. But in ring, he's not a general, fine. But he's just passable.
And also, Trick is the same. So this whole program is passable.
A character that's really good, like Speedball to LA Knight, because LA Knight's in the ring, he's solid, but he's got a good character, and he's really.
Who do I like better, Speedball or Knight? Speedball. Easy.
Exactly.
Io is with Ava. She doesn't have a tag partner yet to face Julia and Roxanne. Jordan Grace conveniently walks in and says she will be Io's partner.
I didn't like this.
Agrees.
I just felt the interaction was not natural.
No, Ava is incapable of a natural.
That and just the way Io and Jordan were talking to her, I was just like, or to each other, I was like,
yeah,
no.
Carmen Petrovic is with Gigi and Tatum Paxley backstage when Ashante Theodonis shows up and interrupts, calls Paxley and Tatum losers. Adonis got Carmen a match against Ruka. Carmen is worried she's not ready. Adonis says, we have a title match.
Title shot.
So this is like old school WWE redacted era where the Adonis Carmen had a beginning and an end and no middle.
Yeah, honestly, it feels like they wanted a breakup and reverse engineered everything else. Or they wanted...
There's no, like, they struggle to get together, blah, blah, blah. He's courting her. She has no interest.
And so it's like a will they, won't they kind of thing.
He wins her over, they get together, and then we don't see them forever, and now they're breaking up.
See, it's even dumber because, one, it feels like it's reverse engineered, like I said.
It does.
Two, wasn't the whole point that, like, she didn't want to get with him because he's like a player and an asshole and whatever. Yes. And so he wins her over by not doing that. And then they get together and then he does that. And then he does the exact thing that was like scaring her away.
And if you're telling the story of he hid that part of himself to get with her, fine. But then that has to be slowly revealed after they get together. Like we see vignettes of Adonis still hitting on other women or being a douchebag or whatever.
Yeah.
We've seen zero of that. And now it's just like, I feel like the last time I saw him, he was a sweet guy giving her a rose and blah, blah. And now he's
just
like
been like fighting a bit. It's just, it's very unnatural.
So it's very strange. Lexis King is taking on Ricky Saints. I think it's for the North American title. It is, in fact. King attacks before the bell. Things go back and forth. King tries to cheat on a pinfall attempt, but he can't reach the ropes. I don't know if he was actually supposed to. He tried to put his feet up, but he wasn't close enough. Saints ends up countering the coronation into a tornado DDT, follows immediately with the Rochambeau for the win after 10 minutes.
Not the best Rochambeau, in my opinion.
Really ordinary match, I thought. Expected outcome.
It felt short. I didn't really watch it, but it felt like it was over like that.
Felt like a strange decision because no story is furthered or introduced here. It's just like it happened.
Just a title match.
Spotlight this week is on the culling. Spears people have fallen. He's speaking that they have fallen short of expectations, but they can't let their failures define them. Their failures should teach them. Izzy needs to focus on standing out from the pack and get the spotlight on herself because, and Spears even says something like the division is stacked, right? So she's got to do something to get noticed. Nico and Jensen need to create a better bond on a deeper level, sort of define the success of Hank and Tank because that's their thing. They're like super good buddies and they win because of that, right? They all need to rise up and seize control. So it's kind of standard stuff, but it's also kind of weird to have the leader of a heel faction be so supportive of his people failing.
Reasonable advice almost.
And I still don't mind it. I think it's like a not bad mid-card heel stable before these guys are ready to do something more. It's just interesting that it doesn't bother me that the heel is like, it's okay, guys, that you lost. I still believe in you. And it's like, what?
You guys can do better. Here's what we should do.
Right, but somehow it kind of works for me. So I say the same thing every week. It's like a mid-card thing that I don't mind. Tony D gets in the ring to speak. And I guess there's members of the family on the apron with him, sort of thing. Betrayal is something that everyone can relate to. He did not expect this to happen with Stacks, but we all did. We've been watching.
Everybody. That's like
literally
CM Punk comes out and he's like, I did not expect Paul Heyman to join Seth Rollins. That's completely unexpected.
Calling it for weeks. This is even more so than that. He said he's always been loyal to Stacks, but Stacks has always wanted to lead the family. So you just said I was surprised.
You never saw it coming, but here's why I saw it coming.
He's always wanted to be the head of the family.
Yeah.
So what the hell is going on here? Stacks stepped up when Tony was away, so Tony promoted him until Tony had to step back and make the big decisions. Stacks stabbed him in the back at Stand and Deliver. Stacks appears, but only on the screen, not in person. He's tired of taking orders, and Tony has gone soft. He took the reins and put Tony in his place. Luca is gone, dead in the desert. And
he got pretty dead lead.
Rizzo is hiding. Tony is losing power every day. Can Tony even trust his own family? But then the family don't attack him. It's like security people that attack him.
Can you trust your best friends, random security guys?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of weird stuff. like there's inconsistencies in the promo that the guy's making.
I also hate that he did that trope where he's like, hey, look up here, look up here.
Yeah.
I'm here. Like, come on. When Tony's already looking that way.
Security attack, Tony manages to fight them off. Like, I had hopes for Stacks, right? And I was hoping that when this happened, it would be a better angle than it is right now. Because I kind of like Stacks as a heel, but Tony is really a bland babyface to me. And this whole, I never saw it coming, even though you always wanted my position. Like, what?
And it's still the mobster
How
thing.
did that get through? Who wrote that?
The babyface mobster.
Right.
So it's always kind of...
I'm the babyface who's made people disappeared and killed people on TV.
Wait, Stax, you did the same thing?
Right.
I hate you.
He's on his way to
babyface. We all hate you.
He's on his way to redemption by killing people.
That's what it is.
I'm sure Luca comes back, right?
I'd imagine.
On the side of Tony, I'm sure.
Pretty Deadly just went to SmackDown, so maybe that's what you have to
They're
do.
alive, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Noam Dar is back with the rest of Meta 4, but only for them to go their separate ways. Oro Mens is on Evolve. That's a tough thing to mention, right? Like, I'm actually been demoted from this show down to a much lesser show.
Yeah, because Lash is like, Oro should stop being your man and be his own main man and do his own thing.
In a place where no one watches
on Evolve. On YouTube.
Right. Lash is going out on her own. Dar is supportive and they leave, so he's alone with the cup. So too bad. This group was fun. I thought they had an interesting dynamic together, but they haven't been a thing for a while anyways, so I just hope Dar remains visible because he's awesome. Lash is probably ready.
I hope he turns heel, though, because babyface Dar is not something I have much interest in.
Lash is probably ready to go somewhere else, main roster possibly. I mean, she's not amazing, but remember, what was the thing? They're only going to have people in developmental for like a year tops and then figure out either fish or cut bait.
Since 2.0, because remember one of the first things in 2.0 that we hated was lashing out.
It was awful. So I think she's fine now, and if once they embrace like this woman is huge and powerful, let's start booking her that way. Was it Otis she picked up? Yeah, right. So anyways, we do get the Petrovic. My notes say Carmen Petrovic versus Carmen Petrovic. So it's
Rolsuka.
It's no Karate Man.
Right.
Fighting yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Sol Ruka for... Was this a title match? It shouldn't have been. Maybe it was.
No. Okay, it was good. Like she would get a title shot if she wins. It's
Vic,
like an eliminator.
It made me laugh because Vic says he has to get his emotions in check after the breakup of Metaphor. It's like, come on. That's a bit too far. I love Metaphor, but come on.
He should have said that for the family, and I still would have laughed, but you know.
Zarya gives the title a glance while she's holding it, right? To the point where Vic mentions it. So
which makes it definitely
she's like taking the title to put wherever it is during the match, and you can see her longingly glance at it. Ruka wins in 4 minutes with the Soul Snatcher. Super basic match. Nothing really to see there. Adonis is then talking to Carmen in the ring after the match, and Carmen just kicks him in the head. So there's the finish, right? Like, wait, again,
there's your story.
No middle to this, and I don't understand. So this was less about the match than I think the tease of Zarya wanting the title and Adonis and Carmen having issues. Ruka's ascending. Petrovic is just kind of where she is. So it all makes sense, I guess. Trick to the ring to speak. He says Joe Hendry doesn't belong here, but he got the better of Trick last week. Trick pauses for the crowd to say things. You know, he speaks in a cadence where he stops, and they're just not doing it. So he starts talking normally. So I kind of think people are like, this guy's just spinning his wheels nonstop right now.
Jason.
Trick will be in a movie too. Nope. He doesn't know what the big screen means. It's a TV show on CW, right? He's like, I'm going to be on the big screen.
Because, of course, it's on the network where the show is, you know.
Big screen is not TV. That's literally the small screen button.
That's the only reason why he's there.
Calls Joe Hendry local talent and that they're not on the same level. He then compares himself to The Rock and Cena.
I would argue they're not on the same level. However, it would not be in favor of Trick.
He's moving on to bigger and better things in the NXT Championship. Ava interrupts. She's mad at Trick for attacking Hendry in TNA. It says Jack is not a fan of Ava's acting. So I think you were here for this part.
She's so atrocious.
She is.
I just can't do it.
Speaking words in her native language is very hard for her sometimes.
It's not like, oh, maybe she'll learn English. It's in English.
She makes Trick enter a 25-man battle royal for the number one contender.
Featuring
to face Ova at Battleground. You pointed out the poster, and they show it here on
right next to Ethan Page.
FNS favorite, one of them, or we like him more than
an unsung
most people. Timothy Thatcher.
It's 100% Timothy. Like, if they just randomly took back Thatcher, what a random one to take back.
Imagine they don't, and they put that out there.
That'll be honestly even funnier.
Either way, we win.
Thatcher's on there.
Win-win.
It's nice. It's funny. I wish they'd put Tyler Rust on there, but you know.
Trick was pretty boring here. Didn't accomplish much.
I barely pay attention to Trick.
He seems to say the same things basically every week. Like, Oba, blah, blah, blah. And it's just not...
Yeah.
People aren't into him like they once were.
And
the bloom is off the road.
His style is just not... I don't know. He doesn't have substance to him.
Speaking of Oba... Undertaker talks to him backstage and tells Oba that it's his yard now.
Which seems at first like the stupid, it's one of those stupid legend appearances, but it's just a shameless LFG plug.
Yes, and that Oba should worry about LFG guys coming for him.
Shiloh Hill.
So this
someone
is like
else
beneath
guy.
NXT people.
I would even argue beneath Evolve.
And so they're kind of, I would too. And they're kind of behind Oba as the camera.
They're in the Battle Royal, though.
That's amazing. So then we get Hank and Tank taking on Briggs and Inamura, and this is where you left, so you did not see this. It goes back and forth. Briggs runs Hank into the steps. Briggs and Inamura earn a near fall on Tank. I forget what Briggs did, but then Inamura hit that huge splash, and it looks really good. The crowd's into it. Hank comes back in. Inamura picks him up to slam him, but as he swings him around, Hank's legs take out Briggs, and then Inamura is sent to the floor. Briggs takes the Hank and Tank finisher, and Hank and Tank retain. That's a lot of Hank and Tank in a row. Pretty good short tag match, like kind of like a Haas fight with good pace, lots of high impact. Hank and Tank are fun to watch. I hope they continue to improve as quickly as they have been. Briggs and Inamura are kind of similar, almost maybe redundant, because it's like they're both kind of smash mouth teams, right?
Right. Yeah, I guess.
But Inamura's time's up. I think he's heading back to Japan. So where does this leave Briggs? Remember, Briggs was like, I'm done with tag teams. I'm going into a singles.
Now it's no tag teams.
Right into a tag team.
Now it's no tag teams.
We'll see.
Yeah.
The rest of No Quarter Catch Crew tell Bourne that Dempsey is pissed at him for tagging with Javon Evans last week. So here's kind of, I feel like we're skipping in more middle parts as well. Bourne's like, I don't really care what Dempsey says. And he thinks that No Quarter Catch Crew should start thinking for themselves. Kind of out of nowhere, it feels like. I don't know. I do like that they're giving him a chance to speak quite a bit. And you know what? Once you know that the guy is basically deaf, like his speaking is pretty damn good, honestly. Like when we didn't know, we're like, man, he sounds whatever. But like in context, he's good.
Pretty good.
Ren says some meaningless stuff about Dempsey being a complex man, and Heights kind of calls her on it. Like, what does that even mean? So I think there's a lot of potential in Bourne and Heights as a tag team. So I hope they kind of stick together. And I know Bourne is very Randy Orton, but I think he's Randy Orton, but more diverse in it. Maybe it's young Randy Orton when Randy did more stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Chase U's back.
With new people.
They actually mentioned that he reminds us that Ridge Holland killed it. So it's not like we're just going to forget that happened.
Well, remember it was that they couldn't be a thing anymore. So he can do it with different people.
He did have to get rid of those people. And he does mention
Riley.
that.
So he just has to have new students, which I don't know why I didn't think of that sooner.
So it's a new semester with a new agenda. The two kids that he's usually dealing with, Uriah Connors and...
I know his name. Come on.
Connors and... Give me a hint.
Starts the K?
Kevin.
No, not even a little
Kale.
bit. Yeah?
Kale. Ooh, Uriah Connors is right.
Uriah Connors is
Kale
right. That's
Stevens.
No, not even a little bit. Uriah Connors is David Finlay's brother.
And Kale... I don't think I'm going to get there. Kale... How many syllables?
2.
Not Stevens. Kale... I don't know.
Stevens is half there. It's Dixon.
Kale Dixon. It's half there. I like it.
Because, the similar sound. I'm surprised they don't acknowledge Finlay being
right
secondary. Like, aren't they obsessed with that?
They do love that. Well, once he's half decent, then they'll get there.
Maybe yeah. Because Finlay's still a producer, I think, right? Like, it's not like Finlay is someone who they don't want to mention, right?
So those kids show up late. Another student points out, like, hey, they're late, whatever, and then Chase, instead of getting mad at the kids being late, gets mad at the guy for snitching at them and goes on his swearing tirade thing.
I thought it was going to be like he doesn't do that anymore.
No, he does it.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, reset the exact same thing with the different crew, which, I don't know, whatever. If it gets a few people...
If it works, because I think Thea Hale was a really dynamic character, and then I thought Duke Hudson...
I kind of ended up really liking that group for a while, right? Like, it's like a mid-card babyface factory.
Yeah, so, like, if it works as well as them, then it works. But if it fails, it's kind of like... At least they're not calling it the new Chase U or
I agree.
Chase New.
It's just a new... Like, it's a new semester.
Yeah.
There's new students.
Yeah, at least it's that, because if you tag new on it, then you're asking for it to die.
Kalani Jordan's backstage, and she chirps Saul Ruka. Saul gets close to giving her a title shot. Then Zarya steps in and says Kalani will have to beat her before getting at Saul. And I think it's just to further the back and forth of, like, Zarya's mostly supportive of Saul Ruka and their buddies, but the title is going to be the thing that gets between them. So this is more of like, I'm the gatekeeper now to you. So there's nothing wrong with that.
I just unlocked an alternate version of Kalani Jordan in 2K that I didn't want.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's somehow Kalani Jordan 2023, even though I don't know if that makes sense.
And Lonnie's still, like, she's now, like, 75% heel, but it feels like they still haven't gone the full way with her yet.
So she debuted in June 2023. Never mind.
Main event, it's Roxanne and Julia taking on Jordynne Grace and Io. So it starts out on the floor because they just can't. It was good. They can't wait to get at each other. Crowd is really into Io right away, as they should. Io is probably the best women's wrestler in the world to me. Io with the senton off of Grace's shoulders, maybe not quite as clean as they'd hoped. Julia's in to avoid Grace's power, escapes and counters, but Grace eventually overpowers her, takes control. The heels end up isolating Grace, cut off the ring for a bit. Io eventually gets in, missile drop kick, back onto Grace's shoulders, but Grace is pulled off the apron, which drops Io across the top rope, so the heels are back in control. Io gets control of Roxanne, but she's exhausted from being isolated. She collapses, but manages to tag in Jordynne Grace, who dominates both the heels for a bit. Grace hits a German to Julia, who ends up at the same time because she's holding on to Perez. So it's like the German to Julia causes Julia to Northern Lights Perez, which is an interesting spot. We get, picture it, a double stomp gory bomb to Julia. So Grace is the one gory bombing and Io's the one double stomping. Okay. Io fails to notice a tag. The heels take over again. Grace and Julia end up brawling on the floor. That leaves Perez all alone with Io to exchange some pinning predicaments. The pop rocks gets avoided with Io handsprings out of it, which was a pretty cool avoidance. And then Io hits her moonsault, and it's over 14 minutes. Really good star-studded match. Again, these are 4 really talented women, right? So you're probably going to get something good here. Got a lot of time for an NXT match, to be honest, 14 minutes. Hard for them to have a bad match, I would think. Io keeps looking amazing. I think the run she's on in ring is really, really impressive. She gets the pin here. Julia and Grace continue their story. Perez floats between shows for whatever reason. Who knows where she actually works? I don't. But a really entertaining main event. The only other thing we get is Vaquer and Ava. Vaquer is the fighting babyface champion. She's basically like, I'm ready to defend this title. Give me a challenger. So Ava makes a number 1 contenders match between Julia and Jordynne Grace. And of course, Vaquer is totally fine with that. Some hit and miss stuff on this episode of NXT, but really good episode of Raw. Serviceable to slightly better episode of NXT, I thought. Just because I want you to get to your buddies, you said you kind of organized something for our 250th episode. So why don't we get on to that now? Because people are texting me and I can't answer because our phone is in service. So what did you want to do here?
So I have our episode 250 special, the episode 1 retrospective. I thought it'd be interesting to look back at what we had to deal with.
Did you listen to any?
Then. No, that's not what I did.
Because your voice would have been something for you to hear.
Did the math. I found my episode
12
2
years
notes,
old, correct?
Ended a week back, yeah.
Okay.
So this should be the Dynamite and NXT we would have looked at. Because we published it on July 25th, 2020.
Because the very first episode you took this is the ironic part. We've never been apart for anything other than the very first episode. I was at my parents' a couple hours away for whatever reason, and you were here taking handwritten notes on your own at 12 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, go ahead.
That's the crazy part. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because weren't they moving? That's what it was.
That's what it was. You're right.
Yeah. Okay, so I do have quick rundowns on both just because it's interesting, and we can just
let's reminisce.
So July 22nd, 2020, AEW Dynamite. Back in the day, Cody was just Cody, I believe, and he was TNT champion with the unfinished belt in his open challenge run. This week was the night Eddie Kingston made his debut. See, I told you he would come back. Cutter killer promo, lost to Cody in a pretty sick no DQ TV match, notable for Cody getting powerbombed on tax.
Oh yeah, okay.
And this was the match that got Eddie signed. So definitely a major.
Good for Eddie, man. I missed that guy.
Yeah, and then later the year was when he had that I Quit match with Mox,
right?
Full Gear. So yeah, this was definitely big. So it's interesting to see Cody was there. Eddie had just come in. So this means like Ricky Starks had probably been there for a couple weeks. Because the open challenge of the week for episode 2 was when it was Warhorse, that random guy.
Oh yeah, the indie guy. Everybody loved him. He had face paint, right?
He was fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mox was in his first run as AEW champion. How different it is now. So back then, Mox was still world champion. He was feuding with FTW champion Brian Cage and Team Taz.
Oh, Team Taz.
Taz.
Represent.
MJF beat Griff Garrison in his first Dynamite match. Griff Garrison's first Dynamite match. Pre-Varsity Blondes with Lexus King.
That's right.
And Julia Hart.
That's right.
Britt Baker was still around and she was in the wheelchair era with Reba.
Oh,
back when she was injured and doing some good stuff.
Rebel.
Still.
Yeah.
We had Cage and Taz in the ring promo, got cut off by Darby Allin. They beat him up. Mox made the save, and I think this set up a tag match I saw for the next week. We had Bucks versus Butcher and Blade. Remember them?
Yes.
In a Falls Anywhere match. And this was in the era where AEW were turning out a lot of randomly good hardcore tag matches on TV, like the Bunkhouse Brawl with Butcher and Blade against QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes, and the infamous Parking Lot Brawl.
Right, which was awesome.
I don't remember this one a bit.
No, me either.
So that one's interesting. There was Diamante versus Ivelisse, which I think was the match that led to the
Diamante and Ivelisse.
Right?
Yeah.
Remember they won the women's tag tournament?
They
that
did.
Was random. And Ivelisse, but was this the match that got her heat, or was it Thunder Rosa? I don't remember.
She's had heat literally everywhere she's been every time. But like, so it's tough to pinpoint. Something
in AEW. I think it was a Thunder Rosa because it was the sandbagging thing. But it's interesting at least because I forgot about both of them.
Me too.
Hangman versus Alan Angels, 5 of the Dark Order.
Yep.
Back then, it was just crazy to see, given where Hangman would end up with them.
Where Alan Angels would end up. With failing in TNA.
The story with Hangman and Dark Order we would get, obviously.
Yes, which was great.
Hangman and Omega were still tag champs in this time.
Okay.
Which is also interesting. Brody Lee, rest in peace.
I heard his son wrestled his first match.
Yeah, he was in some GCW thing.
How old is he, though?
Anyways, I think it was more so like a comedy thing.
He's too young to be like legit wrestling, right?
He's younger than Nick Wayne was when he started. Brody Lee recruited Hangman afterwards. Hangman declined and got beat down. And then the main event, get this, it was Chris Jericho and Jake Hager of the Inner Circle against Jurassic Express in the main event. For some reason, they went with the help of Serpentico.
Oh, wow. So he's 11.
It was Sammy Guevara dressed as Serpentico for some reason. Orange Cassidy and Best Friends make the save, and I imagine it sets up the Parking Lot Brawl.
Probably. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's very interesting to see the differences and similarities, I guess.
5 years ago, basically, almost, right?
It would be like
almost
5 and a few months, maybe 5.5 or something. Then NXT of the same night, because this was back in the Wednesday night era still. Black and Gold, the good old days. This was Keith Lee relinquishing the North American title after becoming double champion.
Right.
Much like Vaquer. And also like the women's title, they announced a ladder match, which was for TakeOver 30, back when we had TakeOver.
Yeah.
Dexter Lumis beat Killian Dane, and I oddly remember taking notes on that match.
Killian Dane, eh?
Yeah. I liked his run with Drake Maverick.
Yeah, he was fine. That tag team ended up being pretty entertaining.
I like the theme song too, because it'd be like half heavy metal, and then like the Drake Maverick just skipping.
You played it, and I guessed it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yep.
Breezango.
They
did a Mountie inspired entrance and beat your boys 2.0, aka or FKA Everrise.
Back when you hated them.
Yeah. Speaking of hate, good one. Shotzi Blackheart at the peak of her suckitude.
Your all-time favorite.
Beat Aaliyah, who also sucks.
She Canadian though.
Forgot
Give
about
her
her.
A break.
Forgot about her because I've seen her popping up at Destiny Wrestling, which isn't far from us. But I forgot about her WWE run completely.
Yeah.
Because she was, if they had the developmental policy, she would have been gone a lot longer.
Yes, she was there forever and never got good.
Yeah.
Or ascended to anything.
The fact that Robert Stone has his own group, the Robert Stone brand, which was also once home to Chelsea Green and Jesse Kamea.
He's commentary on Evolve, eh?
Yeah. It's crazy that was a thing.
Yes.
Bronson Reed beat Gargano and Roddy Strong to
Bronson Reed was back there back then, eh?
Yeah, this was around the time. It was about a year before he won the North American title, which he lost to Swerve.
I would have guessed he wasn't there yet.
No, he started in 2019, and him and Swerve and Cameron Grimes started in the 2019 tournament.
Okay.
Also, ACH, aka Jordan Miles, who didn't like that T-shirt.
No, he did not at all.
I don't think it was that deep. And I don't think he was doing the Thick Boy thing around this time, because that was his nickname at one point, which I hated.
Yeah, you did.
That was bad. He'd eventually win the title, but the ladder match he went on to was the one where Damian Priest won the title.
Amazing.
Which would lead to the Gargano feud and also Leon Ruff. Oddly
him too.
Oddly timely, Timothy Thatcher beat Oney Lorcan. Imagine it was a scrappy one, and 2 underrated guys we both really liked.
Yep, we did.
And we talked about him as well. Karrion Kross beat Dominic Dijakovic in the main event. FKA Dijak.
Mm-hmm.
Back when they were shoving Kross down our throats, and before Dijak got his career derailed by Retribution. This was pre-Retribution.
Poor Dijak. He's another guy fun to watch in the ring, but the charisma and the character are lacking.
I am very surprised there was little Undisputed Era on the show, just for the era.
Him and Kross in a match would be like a charisma vacuum.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, that's true.
This was a down period for Black and Gold, I remember. Understandably, because it was pandemic was still majorly underway.
That's right.
So, yeah, it's interesting to look at what we
to go back and
back when the Wednesday Awards were
we've been covering it for that long is crazy.
Yeah, we've seen black and gold die, 2.0 come and die.
Thank God.
White and gold come and die. I get that wasn't as much of an era of its own as 2.0 was.
No, it wasn't.
And Dynamite.
That was a clear, like, we are resetting and doing things differently, and it sucks.
And Dynamite's
and I'd be like,
networks.
3-minute match, what can I say? 2-minute match, what can I say?
Remember Harland?
Oh my God, yeah. And he was in AEW for a cup of coffee.
And him in Trench.
Right, Trench.
Oh my God, Mogul Affiliates is horrible.
Worked out well.
But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, that is funny. We're doing this 5 years now, folks. So
almost.
If you remember anything, let us know. What are your favorite memories of us? We got some loyal listeners out there who've been listening for quite a while. Contact us. Give us some of your favorite memories. I think we're going to wrap up 250 here so you can get to doing what you do with your friends and I can get to watching the Leaf game tonight. We really do appreciate any of you that have listened to any of our episodes over the last 250. It's really cool that you take time out of your week when you could listen to anything or do anything and check out the two of us down here talking about this. Really enjoy doing it. We've never charged a penny for it. We've never taken any ads. We've turned down some, in fact, before.
What was the really funny one? Shave my balls?
Shave my balls.
Hey,
free ad
reach out again, brother. Give me a better offer, and I'll think about it.
And a couple golf-related things for some reason.
And Fred Rosser.
And Fred Rosser. But yeah, so appreciate you giving us some time every week or any week that you do. We'll be back down here for next Saturday, as I'm sure you know at this point, for episode 251. We hope you have a great week. And until then, everybody, take care.